Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Comic Book Curation. I'm Polly, and joining me, as always, is the Incorrigible Inquisitor 8.1 quiz. How are you?
Incorrigible and
Nice.
a little bit irritable, but I think it'll be fine.
Okay, irritable. All right. And Jack from Bad Comic Reviews, link in the description. Jack, how are you? Are you irritable?
No,
No.
I'm good. How
Okay.
you doing?
I'm doing all right. As was said in the pre-stream chat, I just installed a new solid-state hard drive in my computer last night and was up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning installing the operating system, trying to get all my programs up and running with no small amount of help from the one-ton hammer. Guy's awesome, really knows his computer stuff, and he's dogged about getting these things done just so that was awesome. But had mic problems and oh shit, all sorts of other problems, and couldn't get a proper thumbnail done for today because of I didn't have Photoshop installed, my copy of Photoshop installed and everything. I'm trying to reconstitute my computer. And Jean says, late as usual. Yes, but this week I have an excuse. Actual technical problems. Brand new operating system I'm not familiar with. And
so wait, does that mean that last week's weren't technical problems?
No, last week were technical problems, but they were shared by both Jack and myself. So it was a mutual spread out responsibility. Wouldn't you say, Jack?
Yeah. And massive thanks to Inquisitor for fixing Polly's mic today.
So absolutely.
He sounds as good as he did, because otherwise it would be a pretty big problem.
Yeah. It's when we first joined in, he sounded like he was on his phone. So yeah, no, I made sure that he sounds good. So
yeah, he went and did some quick troubleshooting and found some settings that were down in the audio, whatever the hell, of Windows 10 that I didn't even know were there, and a few adjustments and boom, I'm back to my mellifluous tones.
I just assumed you were going to broadcast from whoever's trunk you were in.
Yeah, Jack shows up late. Ladies and gentlemen, he was late. I don't make that up. It happens. He comes in and it's like Quiz and I are like trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm adjusting the gain on my mic and all sorts of other shit. And first thing Jack says, "Why do you sound like you're talking through a sock?" And it's like, yes, I know. I'm trying to fix it, man. So we got a whole bunch of people in chat already. A lot of the usuals, and Peter's here, and Johnny Hellcat, Hate Camel, yay, Ryan Walters, Mustafa, Peter. Well, I already said Peter and John and everybody. Sweet, and then of course Mule, always the first one here. You gotta love that guy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of not being able to put together a proper thumbnail, I did get one together at the last few minutes. I'm really feeling David Finch's art lately, so I couldn't help but go for this. Share. Hello.
No, but
yeah, yeah, that is Aphrodite IX. I'm assuming it's saying it's an older comic series that I wasn't even aware had come out by Wool and Finch. David Finch doing the art there, of course, and he draws sexy ladies, really sexy. And if you guys were here last week, you saw me. I pitched actually the Moon Knight series that David Finch had drawn in from 2010 to 2012, if memory serves, and it's just fucking awesome. I love David Finch's art. He draws men like men and women like women. How rare, you know?
Sexist.
I know. But that brings up the comic that it comes from here, David Wool and David Finch for Aphrodite IX, and I'm assuming that it's pronounced Aphrodite IX. I'm just going with that. I haven't read it yet. I just found out about this comic that came out on Top Cow a while back, and I don't know it. I think Quiz, you're going to find a lot of it familiar. Well, you too, Jack. You know Blade Runner and whatchamacallit. Help me out here.
Don't know where you're going.
Human brain in a sexy robot body.
Ghost in the Shell?
Ghost in the Shell. Thank you. It's very Ghost in the Shell-esque from what I can detect. Like, I mean, if we just take a look here. Ooh. Hello, Alan Silvestri. Thank you for that. Very nicely done.
It is very cyberpunk.
Yes. It's a cyberpunk world, and this is the main character, Aphrodite. And she is robotic, largely, from what I'm detecting.
Yeah, she's a cyborg.
Yeah.
She got fucking pumped full of lead.
Woo! Hello.
Woo! But
yeah, they relaunched it recently, and it was horrible.
And the relaunch was horrible, or the original?
Yeah, the relaunch was horrible.
Yeah, I did leaf through it, and I forgot that page was in there. I should have used that for the thumbnail, but then Google would have come down on me because I don't talk about liberal politics, so I don't get passes. You know.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
I'll say there's not enough butt for them to get censored even on cable television, so it's fine.
Yes. So I don't know. Hey, Cam was like, I'm sold. Where can I buy it? It's up on Comixology. I was looking, and it's up there. Wool and Finch. Wool continues to write it for a little bit. Finch only drew the original mini series, and then, oh man, that's rough. It's like, Rick Leonardi. I'm a big fan of Leonardi's art, and as soon as he left Spider-Man 2099, it's like. Because he was drawing it from issue 1, he basically ends up defining what the world looks like, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, you're more or less just hiring lookalikes. It'll never really be back up to that thing again. It takes a really special artist to do it. And like Rick Leonardi and David Finch are like, they're operating on a different level. I mean, it's so yeah, the series never really comes back to it after that, from what I've seen. But then again, I'm going to start reading it. I only found out it existed a couple of days ago, and grabbed some issues of it, and I will let you know how it turns out.
Oh,
like I said, I've just been
the new 2099.
Oh, the 2099 as well, but I don't want to talk about that right now.
So you don't want to talk about the pink haired neighbor giving Miguel what for, huh?
Yeah.
It's Miggy. He prefers to be called Miggy. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, I know. It's I grabbed the new 2099 series that ran. I was blissfully unaware that they existed. You take a little break from comics, and they end up bastardizing. Because that ran a few years ago, but I was unaware that it even existed. It was part of the all new, all different Marvel initiative. You know the one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it kind of, It's Jean asks, are you aware that Minions of the Zoo is also streaming at the same time? Unfortunately, yes, I am aware of that. Yeah, we're either streaming it at the same time as Lords of the Night or Minions of the Zoo, and it's really hard to not. There's a half hour in between them. It's rough, man. I really don't know, and that's 5 nights a week that it's like that. So it was really difficult to pick a time. We ended up picking this time. We end up being late all the time. Thanks, Jack. And so we end up stepping on the Minions more than anything, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
We don't mean to. We like Skep Talk.
Mm-hmm. Is that who's hosting tonight, Skep?
Oh yeah, everyone. Well, it's every Wednesday. Skep Talk.
Oh, he must hate us then.
Well, we could always, I realize Wednesday is New Comics Day, and that's kind of why we ended up resting on Wednesday. We could always switch it to Monday, though, if you guys are willing. I've heard that Minions really sucks on Monday nights. I don't know why.
Hey, you know what? It's kind of funny. The highest viewed video we have, or highest viewed stream the Minions have, is a Monday stream.
Really?
300 views.
Okay. Oh. What was there? Why is that? What's your?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I'll say I know. I put in a whole bunch more tags in that one than I had done previous, but it was all relevant stuff. Like because I was painting Warhammer minis, so I put in like Warhammer 40K painting, tabletop, all sorts of stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe.
Hey, Deco's here. It's been a while. How you doing?
Maybe
John asks, who's the sexy lady on screen? Aphrodite IX. It's a comic series that I'm going to get into reading. I just found out existed a couple of days ago. So I'll let you guys know how it turns out. He even did an issue 0. Remember when 0th issues were a big thing?
Well, it's not a remember thing. It's they still do. It's just it's not very common, unfortunately. No, I don't. Do they do issue 0s for new rebooted series? Because I don't think that they've been doing that like very much. But I know, like, when they did the New 52, they put out an issue 0 for all of the stuff.
I'm all for the notion of an issue 0 when it's a lame ass cash grab and they just stick a nothing story as the 0th issue. It's kind of like, why?
Yeah.
The one that comes to mind is the biggest standout for that is Rob Liefeld's original property. What's it called? The first one he did at Image.
Garbage tier. Oh,
Wild Blood.
Youngblood. Thank you. When they did Youngblood 0, it was like, you would think that a 0 issue is telling a slightly before issue 1 in order prequel story. Like, oh, here's something you didn't know that happened right before the story started. It's supposed to reveal origin stuff or whatever, because if it's just another story, why not make it issue 14 or 35 or whatever's next in order, right? Well, that's what Liefeld did. He did an issue 0 as like a money grab, really, because people are like, oh, it's a prequel issue, and you read it and it's like, no, it's just another Youngblood story. Why didn't you just make this the next issue? Because it's not as cool or stand out on the shelf as the 0 issue. And it's like, yeah, well, surprise.
Yeah.
If it were me, all 0 issues would be like cheaper ones, like the dollar cover price one, so the new readers will have an incentive to grab it. It should be a discount.
Yeah.
And it should introduce the character to new people.
Do you guys remember the decimal issues for Superior Spider-Man?
No.
So Amazing Spider-Man, ostensibly ended at issue 700 when, spoiler alert, Peter Parker dies. Yeah. And Otto Octavius, Doc Ock, takes over because they had switched bodies and he was going to prove himself the Superior Spider-Man. And that's why when Amazing ended at 700, Superior Spider-Man, the series, started at issue number 1. But to bridge those two stories, they did 700.1, 700.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. Seriously.
But Octavius isn't a spider. He's an octopus.
Do you actually not know what happened there, or are you just being a smart ass?
No, I don't.
You know what, Quiz? It's funny you say that, and that this topic came up the way that it did. Like I defend One More Day, right? The perennially unpopular storyline in Spider-Man history.
It's unpopular for a reason, Polly.
Because I agree, it is unpopular for a reason, because it's misunderstood.
Because it's terrible.
That's terribly misunderstood. I agree.
We need to have this out on a video. We'll edit the video. We will.
It's just going to be the two of you saying that back and forth. It's awfully great.
We'll have to. Polly, I challenge you. Okay, I challenge you. Okay, this is an official challenge.
The gauntlet is thrown. Shit.
The gauntlet is thrown. Okay, we should record this as a thing and actually do a straight up debate style debate. We need to have Jack be. Well, no, Jack's not impartial. That's the problem.
That's right.
Jack agrees with me. So
wait
a minute. Hold on. You agree with him on this?
What? That Superior Spider-Man was stupid?
No. One More Day.
One More Day.
One More Day? Yeah, it was stupid.
Oh,
you know what else was stupid? Superior Spider-Man.
Okay, well, see, let's get back to the topic at hand. Superior Spider-Man, right?
Well, I'm just saying we should have a debate, like an actual debate, like with a rebuttal and then with a
yeah, introductions, rebuttals, closing statements. I get you. Yeah. We could. We'd have to find that impartial judge. I don't know who that would. Probably Eve. She'd be the one I'd trust most to do that and actually be impartial.
Well, we got like Scribe to do it.
Well, okay, ask Scribe. Yeah, because I was saying Monkey would be willing. What's that? Sorry,
I'm not sure if Scribe has read it. See, that's the thing, is that we need to have someone who, number one, doesn't really know nor really care all that much about Spider-Man to remain impartial, and number two, hasn't read One More Day.
Right. And because I was thinking, it's like, we want like a celebrity judge. So like, who do we know that's really well known? It's like Monkey, Sinatra. Like, if it's like Sinatra doesn't give a fuck about comics, Monkey does. But like, you could get that guy to impartially judge anything. He'd be talking more than either one of us. That's just
probably would.
Well, maybe Weibo would do it.
Yeah, Weebs would be a good choice, actually. She doesn't know Spider-Man that well, but she likes comics. That would actually be a good choice, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you get Peter. He said he's indifferent when it comes to Spider-Man.
You know, Jean asks, get your boys Zach or Yellow Flash. I'd love to have either of them do it. I just don't know if they have the time, and I have no contacts with either of them. The only person I talk to in that group is Tug. That's it. But yeah, there. Tug could do it. He'd be like the softly spoken Southern gentleman. Now, calm down now.
Oh no. If I could choose anyone to be the voice of reason between the two of us raving lunatics, it would be Edwin Boyette.
Well, Jim Healis says, I'll judge you. It's like, yeah, I know you will. That's the
problem. Yeah, you probably would.
Well, Jim gets my vote.
We don't need the impartial evaluator in the middle of it going, look, here's why you're both wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
But the okay, so the One More Day storyline, we'll set that aside for the time being. That is an idea going forward. But you want to hear me get absolutely irate on a Spider-Man storyline? Let's talk about Superior Spider-Man. The basic premise of it is that Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus, switches bodies with Spider-Man. Otto's body is old, decrepit, broken down. He's dying, right? But of course, Otto Octavius he's brilliant, maniacally so, but brilliant. He switches bodies with Peter, and so Peter's the one who's old and dying now, and Doc Ock has spider powers now, and Peter dies, and that's the end of it. And Doc Ock is going to prove himself. I can be a better hero than you ever were because you weren't willing to do certain things that I am. You limited yourself. You didn't. So basically, the notion of Superior Spider-Man was Otto Octavius is going to be a hero using villains' methods. I'm willing to beat the hell out of people. I'm willing to go the extra mile and get things done, even if it would encroach upon somebody else's morality, etc. Now, it's the way Peter died that drove me fucking crazy. It was so sad. It was just, we want to do something big for issue 700, so let's kill Peter Parker. And it's like, that's your idea? I mean, Stan Lee, rest in peace, tweeted out on that day. It's like, and it was on his birthday, on Stan Lee's birthday. And he's like,
God.
Yeah, he's like, what a great birthday present. The death of Peter Parker. Thanks. Jesus. But, obviously it didn't stick that way because Peter Parker came back, but still.
Well, that's if I can recommend one very important thing that's not mired in politics when it comes to comic book stuff, I would highly recommend checking out the YouTube video, The Death and Return of Superman, by, I believe his channel is called Two Toes Up. No, that's not Two Toes Up. Fuck, what was it? Let me look it up. But the guy who made it was Max Landis, who is the son of John Landis, the guy who directed Kentucky Fried Movie, American Werewolf in London.
Trading Places.
Wait, is that the guy that wrote Last Jedi?
No.
He wrote some movie recently.
That's Ryan Johnson.
No, this Landis guy's kid wrote some crappy movie I saw recently.
Well, I know Max Landis.
American Ultra.
Yeah, he wrote American Ultra. He wrote Chronicle. Chronicle was really good, though. I know he's been writing for a TV show. Shit, I can't remember the name of it. But it's called. It's up on Adjacent TV, is what they call it. But yeah, it's called The Death and Return of Superman. In it, he pretty much he uses his Hollywood contacts to get a whole bunch of like random ass people, like 3 porn stars and Elijah Wood, to act out the bit where Hank Henshaw goes into space and becomes Cyborg Superman. It's really funny. This is a bit where he's talking about, like, it's basically just making fun of the Fantastic Four. So you've got Elijah Wood with a big old plastic spaceman helmet, sitting on a playground, like, swing set sort of thing, with 3 porn stars, waving his hand all, like, crazy, like, with a Fantastic Four t-shirt on.
Okay.
But it's really funny. But anyway, the thesis of the entire video is pretty much at the end of it. He goes, the death of Superman didn't kill Superman. It killed death. Because after the death and return of Superman, superheroes could just come back to life. The suspension of disbelief was gone when it came to characters dying in comic books.
Yeah, it kind of became the revolving door of bad writing.
Yeah.
It used to be a very rare thing for a character to even die, and then their death was impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just lazy writing, more than usual.
Yeah. I know Max Landis is a very controversial figure. I like him. But yeah.
So the yeah, we can go. We can the Superior Spider-Man. We could go over that. Oh, see, this is what I'm talking about right here. Okay, you reinstall your browser that you were happy with. Everything's hunky dory and wonderful. But there's no script available for the browser that you like. I like WaterFox. That's my preferred browser. I don't have no script. So now what happens every time I open a new page? Oh, I get all the fucking videos popping up that everybody hates. You know that when people are on a stream, you subscribe on Lords of the Night, that happens to them all the time. You'll open up some new tab and talk about some story. Goes, oh God, quit hitting me up with your videos. Like, that's why you should run no script, Scribe. Yeah, well, I can't run no script on my preferred browser now. Thanks, Windows 10. Fucking hell.
Polly angry.
Well, it's a piss off, man. I mean, I'm gonna have to go over to WaterFox or Pale Moon. I preferred WaterFox, but you know, there we are. I wanted to talk about this one thing because I actually thought this was a joke when this came out, but it's not. Hold on. Bring it up the screen. There we go. Oh, Flashy Flash. Is everyone else seeing a Flashy Flash?
I don't know. Half the audience is having an epileptic seizure.
What the hell?
Change the window or go to a different tab and it'll fix it.
Okay. Has everyone's epileptic seizure subsided?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That was weird, huh? So from fandom, Titans cast Shelaman, a deaf and transgender actor, as Deathstroke's son Jericho for season 2.
Well, I just fixed his name to Cello Man in my head.
Cello Man.
The worst French superhero ever.
Well,
so, who is Cello Man? Because I know who Jericho is.
Right. Well, Jericho is now known as Deathstroke on the internet.
Deathstroke. That's funny.
What?
He's the son of Deathstroke, and he's being played by a transgender deaf actor, so they're calling him Deathstroke.
As in can't hear stroke.
What?
Yeah.
What?
People are assholes, man. When you're on the internet.
I didn't know he was deaf. That was funny.
I just like, okay, so DC Universe Titans cast deaf transgender actor as Deathstroke's son Jericho. Now,
why does it matter if he's transgender?
Okay, take a guess. Take a guess.
Intersectionality points.
Yeah. Like I'm surprised that they didn't put it before the fact he was deaf. DC Universe's Titans cast transgender and deaf actor as Deathstroke's son.
This is a horrible thing, but if he's deaf and an actor, I wonder what his dialogue delivery is going to sound like.
Well, Marlee Matlin is sexy as hell, and she's deaf, and she has that like I guess it's literally tone deaf way of talking, and it's not the word. It certainly doesn't make her any less sexy. Is anyone with me on this? Is anyone else saying Marlee Matlin sexy?
20 years ago, I'd have agreed with you, but she's kind of old now.
Well, I've only seen her in reruns. Has she gone downhill?
They all do. They all do.
Wow.
Factories closed. You know what I'm saying? Layoffs happened.
See, the Vortex says deaf and trans. He's a progressive unicorn. Nope. Nope. Not quite.
He's not a person of color.
He's not black. Yeah, it's...
Well, let's see what the article has to say. DC fans were already over the moon when it was announced that Deathstroke would be appearing in Titans. Now, fans are going to be really happy. Are they? Are they? EpicStream.com.
What fans are happy about Titans?
Fans of intersectionality.
Because I have not heard anyone talking about that show ever. Like after the whole working photos of what all of the characters were going to look like, especially what's her name? The actress that plays Starfire, the horrible Starfire in that.
The ghetto prostitute looking Starfire.
Yeah, yeah.
It's nothing against her. It's just that costume. I don't know why he didn't refuse it.
It's the pink wig.
Yeah. Can we call her Ho-Fire?
That does not look like Starfire. Anyway,
Firestar is my favorite Starfire.
Yeah, we know.
Well, the audience might not. Firestar is better than Starfire.
See, that's the thing, Polydub. You call me out for my DC bias over Marvel. When are you going to start calling out Poly for his Marvel bias over DC? Anyway,
well, that was abrupt.
Anyway, so yeah, who's actually talking about Titans in a positive manner?
People that don't watch the show. My buddy's wife is like that. She's saying how great the show is for its, diverse casting and all this. I was like, oh, so what'd you think of it? She's like, oh, I've never seen it.
Yeah. It's like the people that are fans of Kamala Khan. Yeah, how many comics have you bought other than one issue that Kamala Khan was in? Like, you bought issue number 1 because it was the female Muslim superhero teenager. Like you bought it to Virtue Signal to say you bought it. Geez, and that's the thing that pisses me off about Comicsgate, by the way, the criticism that comes at Comicsgate, where it's like people are only buying Cyberfrog or Red Rooster or Jawbreakers or whatever it is as a protest purchase. And like, as opposed to the Virtue Signal purchases that you guys make, like if you had Virtue Signal purchases on the order of Comicsgate purchases, you wouldn't have any sales problems at Marvel.
Well, here's another thing too when it comes to that. At least in terms of Jawbreakers and Cyberfrog, the only two that I have backed, other than Blue Mamba, of course. Shout out to Jim. Those comics are only what? Well, those are like $30, whereas a Miss Marvel #1 is what, $4.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it would be ignorant to say that, buying Cyberfrog or Cyberfrog or Jawbreakers, that there aren't people that are actually protest purchasers. It would be ignorant to say that. Of course there are. But at the same time, the real test comes in when they sell their subsequent book, as Jim has pointed out before too. He said that Blue Mamba #1 was a success, but the real success is going to be if he retains the audience and sells Blue Mamba #2. And that's the way. So all these people that are trying to jump the gun saying, well, you don't actually have a loyal fan base, you're just getting protest purchases. You don't know that. You don't know that until he starts selling the second issue.
Yeah. Well, as a quick one side, when Ethan Van Sciver and your boy Zach were streaming about a week ago, less than a week, they brought up that point. Zach was the one who brought up that point. I remember saying, God, I remember Jim Heel is saying that like 4 or 5 months ago when he was on our stream, that you get great sales are #1, but #2 is the real test. And it was Zach making that exact point. And it was like, yeah, that's a pretty astute call, I got to say.
So what you're saying, Polly, is that your boys Zach and Ethan Van Sciver are stealing ideas from our stream and Jim Heelis.
Well, we already know that they're jealous of our stream.
No, this is clearly the superior stream, and spread the word. We are better than them.
Oh yeah, way better, way better.
I mean, that's why do you think Van Sciver always starts streaming at the same time as us? He's trying to steal our audience. It's obvious.
Fear is a powerful motivator, Polly. It's a shame, really. It's kind of sad because he's a talented guy, and he doesn't need to try and stream snipe us. Our beautiful audience doesn't deal with that well, I don't think.
Jim's like, I'm rewriting number 2 right now. This fucker is going to sell like crazy, full of I hate identity politics story plots. Yeah.
Well, you're selling me on it more and more every day, Jim.
Well, it's just like lack of identity politics story points. I certainly don't know what Cyberfrog is going to be like. I mean, Space Force was certainly that way in from Donald J. Thump, and that, you know, directly political on purpose. And Van Sciver was the one who's like, I don't want to do that. I do not want politics in these comic books, like first-hand political commentary like that. So I don't know. Out of all of them so far, now it's going to sound like I'm blowing rainbows up Jim's butt, but it's so far of all the comics that I have read, including Jawbreakers, which I just got around to reading not too long ago. My copy came, but I didn't read it right away. Has been Blue Mamba and Iron Sights. In terms of just like wanting to pick it back up and go through it again. Like if there's no reread value to a comic book, I don't think there's much value to it at all.
God damn it. You're making me angry because I didn't back Iron Sights. I didn't have the cash flow at the time. And that was such a short fucking Indiegogo that he put up.
It was. And it sold really well. What's that?
I think he'll reprint it.
Yeah.
Good.
It will be. It's a great little story. Man, it's not a superhero story. It's a down and dirty fight on the border, bad characters, like, you know, no one's a hero kind of thing, but people end up doing the right thing at certain points. It's it's great. I was a big fan.
I liked it. You can watch your review on my channel.
Yeah, I should actually do a review of it, but it's so past the point. It was like, you know, I
do it anyway, dude. Who cares? Yeah, I review old books. I don't give a damn. Just do it.
Yeah, you review Warlords, for Christ's sake. I mean, talk about old books.
Warlord was awesome.
Yeah, but I get a kick out of that. Reviews of 70s materials. Awesome. Yeah. So anyway, we fucking tangentialize quickly here. I'm back at Epic Stream talking about what the fans think and the fans want, even though these people aren't fans. Let's listen to some professional shilling, shall we? DC fans were already over the moon when it was announced that Deathstroke would be appearing in Titans. Now, the fans that we barely ever talk to but claim to represent are going to be really happy to know that his son Jericho is going to be in the game. And it will be played by an actor who is transgender, male, and deaf. It's an interesting move to make and a nice bit of diversity casting. Revealed by DC, the actor is Cello Man. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right.
Cello Man.
Cello Man.
Plays the cello like no one can.
Jesus Christ. Who's pretty new to the acting world. Man doesn't even have an IMDb page. God, monkey's bleeding over here. Jesus.
Yeah, blame monkey.
There for a second. It doesn't even have an IMDb page, though he does have a YouTube channel with 173,000 subscribers and 2.5 million views on his page. This was an interesting way to make your name known, and we will probably see a lot more of Man after this, especially since garbage tier websites like us keep promoting him as some kind of revolutionary person because he's transgender. I added that part in. It doesn't say that. By the way, somebody said, you know, you shouldn't add in stuff because you read it like it's what the authors originally wrote. And I'm like, no. That's the parody. That's the attempt at comedy. It might fall flat, but it's a legitimate attempt. And that's the reason I share the screen. If you read along, you know, I'm kidding. You see? Yeah. Somebody actually DM'd that to me. It's like, I wasn't watching, I was just listening, and I legitimately thought the author wrote that about themselves. Like it was like a stream like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, that's even funnier than what I was trying to do, that you took me seriously. That's great. Expect that the IMDb page to be accurate, though, just like almost everything in IMDb. To be inaccurate. I misread that. I'm like, what do you mean inaccurate? They're like shutting down on anyone who's critiquing the flat, sour-faced, dour Southern California, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan goddess who can't stop talking about the oppression of POCs over here. Let's see. He has switched sides numerous times before, often being a hero or anti-hero. His most recent role in the Deathstroke series made him more heroic, and he is bisexual. Jesus. Making him the first LGBTQ member of the DC Universe group. Quote.
What? Wait. What?
Do you care to take issue with that statement of fact?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Is the DC Universe group, does that specifically talk about the TV shows? Because that's wrong.
I don't know.
If he's talking about the comics, that's wrong.
Okay, so who else was LGBTQ before Jericho here?
Well, first of all, Jericho didn't start off as bi, but
yeah, neither did Iceman. What's your point?
Or Batwoman.
I was gonna say Batwoman was gay though, wasn't she?
Not in the 40s. She came out in the 40s and 50s, and she was actually married to Batman for a while in Universe 2.
1956. But that was Kathy Kane. But even that, I wonder when they decided to make her gay then.
When they relaunched her in New 52.
Was it? I thought she was gay before that.
No, I think I'm pretty sure they made her gay for the New 52. She went gay for the New 52. Probably a porno I'd buy.
Well, even then, it's still not true. Because even if it was in New 52 that they made Kate Kane gay, then that still comes before this iteration of Jericho.
Yep. Oh, Ryan Walters said, "I never knew I wanted Helen Keller in Titans until today."
Vortex says, Kyle, I feel like if it works in the story, it's not lazy. Absolutely. If it's not, the character's identity is that they're this, then yeah. Like if it's part of the story, then yeah, that's fine.
It depends how ham-fisted they're going to be with it, which they're going to be based on the other stuff we've seen from this show and the Supergirl TV show and even Arrow and Flash. It's going to be real heavy-handed.
Arrow, it's not really all that heavy-handed. They do a lot better with Arrow than they do any of the other shows.
Yeah, but that's sort of like I stepped in a small dog turd instead of a fucking bear's turds. You're still stepping in turds.
No. They play a lot of that kind of stuff off as a joke in Arrow. Whereas in Supergirl, the last episode of the second season is nevertheless she endured.
Yeah, Supergirl is like not even trying to hide their agenda.
Yeah, no, Supergirl is awful. Yeah, and the thing about it was that the first season wasn't really all that bad. The first season actually, they didn't have any of that sort of thing in it. In fact, actually, they were a little bit cleaner when it came to that sort of thing. I remember specifically there was a bit where Kara gets all indignant at what's her name? Ally McBeal, who is in that show, for calling Supergirl. And she goes, "Girl, why not Superwoman?" or something like that. And she goes like, "Because girl gives her mass appeal to the public. Shut up and do your job." Stuff like that. So I don't know. They've definitely turned it around. And you know what? I have to say one of the major problems with the whole Arrowverse thing is it's slowly been corrupted by it, because the earlier seasons, that sort of like agenda didn't really rear its ugly head. And it was a really, really good, set of shows. But as it has, gone on, they've gotten worse. And I attribute that to one of the producers, Speed Weed. Guess what else he produced? That's right, the Gamergate episode of Special Victims Unit. Yeah.
Oh, that's
that guy.
Did you guys decide on whether or not there was a bisexual character previous to Jericho, or did you just tumble down your own rabbit hole?
Oh, I did tumble down my own rabbit hole. Let me just, because he brought up Arrow, and I have a lot of thoughts about the Arrow series.
Apparently.
I do. I really like Arrow, but all the other shows have just turned into garbage. It sucks. And everyone keeps falsely attributing Arrow to being it. I was like, no.
Nope. I blame them all. They're all terrible.
Jim Helis is in chat here.
Oh.
Displaying his ableism and trying to accuse me of a lack of virtue, and it's offensive.
You'll get over it.
Well, I don't know. These cuts go deep and they won't heal. My moral outrage is constant. So while Quiz is looking that up, I think I'll just read this quote here. Making him the first LGBTQ member of the DC Universe group, possibly, depending on what Quiz comes up with. Quote, son of the infamous DC villain Deathstroke, played by Esali Morales, Joseph Wilson is the teen titan known as Jericho, mute after his father failed to rescue him from his vocal cords severed by assassins. From having his vocal cords severed by assassins, Jericho has the unique ability to possess anyone just by making eye contact. This gentle-natured yet proud hero has proven himself a formidable titan. Season 2 of Titans doesn't have a release date. All of season 1 can be streamed on DC for the price of what they charged us to write this article for them. There you go. It's this is shilly as fuck. And if they wanted us to think that the character was not going to be ham-fisted, on the nose, and so on, with just trans, deaf, promotion and LGBTQ member of that community, maybe you shouldn't have repeated it over and over and over again in the article promoting this new character and how the fans were going to be excited. Notice the priming, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. DC fans were already over the moon when it was announced that Deathstroke would be appearing in Titans. Now fans are going to be really happy to know that his son Jericho is being played by a transgender male and deaf. So anybody who disagrees with that is not a DC fan, but some kind of online hate troll. See the game?
Yeah, Midnighter and Apollo were gay. But that's not DC Prime, that's Wildstorm.
Okay,
Yeah.
all of the gay transgender talk. I'm just going to throw this up in the meantime, so we got some eye candy. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, I'm not finding any gay, lesbian, or transgender characters or bi characters in DC until after 2000. Yeah, Mustafa, I'm sorry, Speedweed. That's his fucking credit name. That's his credit name. Go back and watch fucking H3H3's video making fun of it. He sits there and focuses on Speedweed for a good 5 minutes of the video.
What are you what the hell, Speedweed? What are you talking about?
That's his name. That's his name.
Whose name?
The producer.
No, the guy's name is Speedweed. He's a director.
Of what?
Is he a director? I thought he was
talking about.
Is he a director? I thought he was a producer.
Producer, whatever. They're both useless jobs.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Speedweed is. Do you want me to screen share this, Polly? I'm not making this shit up.
I'm not saying insane. You are. I just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm just asking for a recap. I'm just asking for a recap here. Fuck.
Okay. Speedweed is the name of a television writer and producer. He's known for his work on CBS drama NCIS Los Angeles, Greg Berlanti's Political Animals, and for sci-fi Stephen King series Haven. He also was a producer for the Gamergate episode of Special Victims Unit. And he has become a producer for Arrow.
Okay. So why didn't you just say I was talking about a producer for Arrow? Why didn't you just
say that? I did.
No, you didn't. You just go, that's what we were talking about. Go back and listen. It's recorded for posterity. You might have said it earlier, but I was doing producing things in the background and reading chat and shit. I didn't hear
you
that
weren't listening, is what you're saying.
We talked about it. I blame Speedweed for all of this bullshit, for all of this political pandering bullshit when it comes to the DC's TV shows.
I may get mildly distracted by running all of the screens and trying to read chat, but at least I'm not painting on stream.
I'm not painting either, actually. Not right now, at least.
Not right now, anyway.
You put the brush down as soon as you said that.
Shut up.
Which actually, this brings us over to here we are. New petition demands that Marvel Studios drop an idea of an LGBT lead actor and superhero in The Eternals. Seems like everyone's in a race to see who can have the first LGBTQ plus whatever the hell character. A petition was recently launched. Please tell me it was at Change.org, the world's most effective site. It's super effective. Let's see.
Wow, a Pokemon joke coming from you.
I am multi-talented, sir. I actually had to ask Zelthor, what does that refer to? And he's like, it's a Pokemon joke. And I'm like, is it? What's the line? And he had to explain the background to me. And I was like, oh, okay. A petition was recently launched that demanded Marvel Studios, quote, not indoctrinate children with homosexual ideology in their upcoming Eternals movie. I don't know if it's going to do that, but okay.
Yeah,
the petition was
Eternals thing.
Yeah. The petition was from LifeSite News. That sounds oddly fundamental, but okay. Came in response to Marvel Studios' chief of production, Victorio Alonso's recent comments at the premiere of Captain Marvel, stating, the world is ready for an LGBT superhero. We already have them. I'm sure Cena Grace is very insulted that Iceman Gay has not been recognized.
Gay Iceman. And never mind the fact that, Kate Kane, came before Gay Iceman. And
well, no, I see, this is what I'm saying. When we say Gay Iceman, it sounds like we're being derisive, which we are, because it's taking Bobby Drake, a character that was a known womanizer and playboy and so on, who then Cena Grace and Marvel editors and stuff, suddenly we need a character to make gay so we can promote this idea. And it's like, why not just like introduce, like, as if there isn't a new fucking mutant every other month? Why not just make an interesting character that has interesting powers, not like randomly chosen with a dice roll?
Wait, they have to be interesting too? You're asking a lot of Marvel staff.
It's, I mean, you don't want comics gators whining about replacement theory all the time, right? Where we're going to take extant characters, we're going to either change them over by gender swapping them, race swapping them, ableist swapping them, whatever, just to keep the old fan base there. But then we get to appeal to our new Phantom audience by giving them an intersectional quality somehow, or that will appeal to an intersectional crowd somehow. Really? Why do you keep doing it then? Why aren't you willing to introduce new characters, refurbish old characters? Why not take the guy from Alpha Flight and make a big deal out of him? I mean, people talk about Black Panther, and I know I've ranted about this before, but fuck it, it's due. I haven't ranted about it recently.
Do it again.
People talk about Black Panther proves that a black director and a black cast can be successful. Who the fuck other than Richard Spencer and his crew didn't think it could be successful?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, was anybody ever fucking doubting that? It's like, yeah, in your face comics gators and other doubters and hateful online trolls that we refuse to name because we'd rather them be a nebulous audience that we can just point at and say the bad guys. Yeah, no, seriously. What the fuck? Whoever said that? Find for me outside of like stormfront.com where anybody ever said a black cast will not be successful. Yeah. Who the fuck ever said that?
I can find you that person. I just have to go out to this field and there's a guy hanging up on this like crossbar thing. He's packed with straw and he talks a lot. He says lots of things, Polly.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, it is you're right. It is a straw man thing. It's like the haters out there think, who are you talking about? These fantasy Nazis that hide under your bed at night? Nobody ever fucking said that. Not at least nobody that anyone ever listens to. You make it sound like hundreds of people were running around online claiming this. This proves it. Proves it to who? Who said otherwise? You know what it does prove? You know what Black Panther does prove? Because it does prove something. If you want to write a story about a black character, go into Marvel or DC or whoever's pantheon because they're all huge. Find a character that fits that bill that you want and reinvigorate the character. If you're a qualified writer and you're good at what you do, it shouldn't be very hard.
Well, I think you just hit on two very important parts of the problem. They're not good at what they do and they're not very creative.
Jesus Christ. I was like, what? What's wrong with what I said? Oh.
I love it when you're all fired up and I say something and you're like, what? Oh,
Yeah,
you're an
it took
idiot.
the steam right out of it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, T'Challa is a long-established character. He's got interesting things. You know, the mythos of Wakanda's already there. Let's just reinvigorate that character. Cool. There are other gay characters that were extant in the Marvel pantheon before. You want to write about a gay character? Cool. Make that character interesting. Oh, right, you're Cena Grace and you're a shitty writer. And every single fucking comic has to have one gay interlude with Bobby Drake experiencing his gayness, because that's all gay people do, right? Is talk about endless sexual encounters and being gay.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm
None of the
pretty
gay
sure
people
he has some self-loathing issues.
Well, considering that the major storyline he wrote in the last Iceman series that ran, what, 12 issues before it got canceled for extremely poor sales?
Something like that.
Yeah, the major story arc was Bobby Drake fighting with his parents about them not accepting him because he's gay, and his parents never said anything about you shouldn't be gay.
Yeah,
they just weren't immediately hugging him and carrying him on their shoulders down the street saying he's gay. We're so proud. Like, what's the problem? Your parents weren't even telling you anything bad.
No, it's because his parents were wondering why he's suddenly gay, just like all the readers. Like, you weren't gay 10 minutes ago before you talked to that Jean Grey girl.
And what's her name? DeConnick? She does with her characters well, excuse me, let me say it again. DeConnick does with the characters that she writes, not her characters, but the characters she's been given the privilege of writing, the exact same thing that Cena Grace does. We're going to take this character and that already exists, that already have traits and characteristics, and we're going to turn them into a mouthpiece for our current issues, our current politics, and get them to grind the axe through the pages that we want them to grind.
Yeah, I've been reading Aquaman, and spoiler alert, it's awful. Like, they got rid of Dan Abnett to put this lunatic on, and it's the most boring tripe. Little preview of upcoming videos, kids. It's awful. It's like Wuthering Heights meets the Hallmark Channel. It's just this weird soap opera kind of thing. And apparently she had said in some interview that she wanted to approach it from Aquaman's oppression, like finding his oppression and working through that.
Get fucked.
That's what I said. Like, you went from Dan Abnett to that.
I need to bring up something here. Vortex said a little while ago, they can make a comic about a kid from the ghetto whose superpower is being hyper intelligent, plays the stock market, and buys the whole neighborhood, makes it a utopia, and SJWs would line up to buy. No. No, they wouldn't, because this right here is a little excerpt here. This is Wayne Williams from Just Imagine. Stan Lee creates the DC universe. This is Batman. He's a black man.
With a handlebar mustache, or is that a shadow?
Wait, he named him after a serial killer? Seriously, Wayne Williams killed like 30 children.
Well, that was what Stan Lee had written.
Hold on, Wayne Williams, the black serial killer? Is that actually his name?
Yeah. Look at your screen.
No, I mean okay.
Well, this is Batman.
No. I get that, but I just like, I was just cluing in, and it's like, yeah, Jack's right. That is a famous serial killer of color. SCOC.
This is in the story though. He gentrifies the neighborhood.
You're kidding me.
No.
He gentrifies it or reverse gentrifies it?
He gentrifies it. He takes all. Well, no. Okay. He gives of the his wealth to the community to make it better, so to speak.
And therefore all the poor people have to move out because they can't afford the rent anymore?
No, he pays for their rent.
Oh, so he's
never going to be good enough, though.
So he didn't gentrify the neighborhood. He Bernie Sanders did.
Yes.
He just free money everywhere, and so therefore life was better.
Yes.
Right.
For like 10 minutes, and then all the drug dealers came in and robbed everyone.
Right, so it wasn't SCOC, it's SKOC. Yes, thank you, Jack.
I would say that's the thing though, is that, like, no one ever talks about that series. I've seen like maybe one or two people talk about the Stan Lee writes the DC universe, but
it doesn't fit the narrative.
Well, you know what's funny is, okay, we were just sitting here talking about like, oh, here's this great character that's been reinvigorated as long as you get a good writer. Yeah, Black Panther and T'Challa was reinvigorated. But what happens when you do what Jack was talking about? You get a bad writer. Looking at you, Ta-Nehisi Coates. You get Black Panther in the crew.
It's a Black Panther in the crew.
Yeah, I wish I was making that up, but that was the title.
His mixtape's dropping soon.
Yeah, it's fucking fire on SoundCloud, man. Check it out. But I mean, it was just like, Ta-Nehisi, you're just the worst. You are the worst, most obvious race hustler of them all. This guy claims to be coming from this caring about his people perspective, and you do shit like that. You don't even have a history of writing fucking fiction of any kind. Yeah, let's give him a comic because he wants to write the black character. And what happens? It's so miserably unsuccessful that it just collapses. The narrative out there is what? Oh, the hate trolls came out and bombed on it and made people not want to buy it who would have otherwise. That doesn't sound right. It's the story was shitty. T'Challa was turned into a mouthpiece for this guy's axe grinding. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You take somebody else's character and you don't want to write them interesting. You just turn it into this person will bear the chip on my shoulder on theirs in the comic. Fuck off.
You know, that's a very good point. Like, I think that's partly the reason why so many people are so indignant with the way Marvel does things, especially with things like Gay Iceman. It's the fact that they're taking a legacy character, so something that these people did not create, and turning them into a mouthpiece for their axe to grind. That's a very good way of putting that.
Well, I think that's why they get so defensive, because you're attacking them personally then. Quite literally. They're imprinting their personality on this character, and you are attacking that.
Yeah.
And they cannot take responsibility for the way they are doing it, because these people don't take responsibility 90% of the time anyway.
Yeah.
And so it is a personal attack, and it's not that they did something wrong by imprinting their personality on it. You're just attacking their personality.
Well, did these people never write fan fiction? Because that would dissuade them from getting a career in fucking writing. Because if they did this shit in fan fiction, they would get lambasted on every fucking fan fiction site. I mean, I'm looking at you, Gabby Rivera.
You know what, Jack? That's actually a very interesting insight.
Yeah, I know.
From awesome. You dissuade me from ever complimenting you when you take things that way.
And so modest.
That's an interesting. So you got DeConnick, right? Why does she talk in such a hostile way about people that are not enjoying her comics or don't enjoy the things that she says? And it's like it's just meant as criticism, like, of the comic. And it's like, no, she wrote herself into the comic. When you insult the comic, you're insulting her personally. Of course she takes it that way. And it's like, yeah, someone would react personally if they feel personally attacked. Well, why would you? We're not talking about you. Yes, you are. Because they Mary sued themselves, self-inserted their own ideology into the comic. So by insulting the things the characters are saying, you're insulting what the writer has said. That's very clever. It explains a lot of the hostility. Like,
yeah.
I've worked with a lot of crazy people over the years. I have a little bit of nutso insight.
Yeah. Why they get so angry and so defensive. Yeah.
It explains a lot of the vitriol, because, I mean, you're not just criticizing them. It's a personal affront. Sort of like if you say, with all due respect, you smell like poo, and I hate the way you dress, and you have a weird nose. Yeah, you're going to take that a little personally.
But it's interesting, because I always think, like, I'd love to sit down with, like, DeConnick and so on and find out, like, you know, what's up with you? You know, like, what's her name too? Like,
what's wrong with you?
Well, no, like Twitter Voldemort there. It's like, I'd love to sit down and have lunch with you and not talk about comics or anything else, nothing politics, just like, you know, it's like that line I said, do you eat like people food? Because you're so weird. I would just have general questions. Like, you come across so angry. What?
Do you eat people food? Are you even human?
Well, just they human so badly, it seems, that the entire discussion I would want to have with them would just be like, so what are your hobbies other than comics and Twitter? Like, what do you do with your, like, do you do beating? Do you get angry at the beats? Like, you know, because they seem so angry all the time. But that's actually a really good sort of insight. It's like, hey, they're putting themselves into a lot of this work and to a lot of their tweets. So it's all a kind of personal effrontery, but it begs the question, how would you ever approach somebody like that and get on a level with them? Because if you're not, unless you're telling them their work and what they blog about and everything is awesome, they're going to take it as you don't think I'm awesome and be hurt by it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a personal attack. And the problem is that a lot of these people have very high egos, and I blame the education system for a lot of that. But when you have somebody that has high ego and low skill, because they clearly don't have a lot of refined talent for this, they may have some raw talent, but it's not professionally honed or any formal training or a significant talent, then they get very insecure, and you're dealing with someone that already has insecurity issues. So of course they're going to take it extra harshly when someone criticizes them and gives them even constructive criticism. It's going to seem like an affront because they think they're awesome, but deep down they have a lot of self-doubt, and it's really a shallow exterior that they put up.
Well,
Jim Healy says, I saw Mags, like meaning Magdalene Visaggio at ECCC, never at her table, but she was there.
Yeah.
It's interesting. She was never at her own table, but she was there. That is somebody that, like many others, I would love to sit down to lunch with her and just never talk about comics, just to see if she's angry about other things as well. Are they ever in a pleasant mood? Because what you see from them is never happiness. It's always anger. Like if you spend any time looking at, I don't know, big comicsgate, I think like EVS is probably the most well-known one. Yeah, he's cracking a lot of jokes there. Yeah, he gets angry at shit, but you see him laugh. I don't ever see Mags happy.
Well, I think Magdalene Visaggio is one of those people that I think has a little bit more humility than some of the others might. I know that she's at least talked with EVS.
Yeah.
Some of those other people, they just outright refuse.
Well, Mags actually has some talent too. Yeah. I've seen some work that wasn't bad. That there's a potential there, but
and it is possible for her to write and not proselytize.
Yeah,
like about politics. Like, she does write stories that are totally deviating from that stereotype. So my big problem with Magdalene Visaggio is not that she has work, it's that she has more work than she can handle, and there's a fuck ton of people that would love a fifth of the breaks that she's gotten, and she's got them exclusively for what seems like tokenism.
Yeah, and she really needs some editors to sit down and say, that's why I wasn't upset when she got into the DC New Talent thing, where they were like training people to write books, because I think she's got some talent, but she really needs somebody to kind of hone it and say, all right, you can cut out these extraneous words, and these entire caption boxes can be dropped, show, don't tell, and then her work would improve, because she has gotten a lot better. If you look at Transformers Visionaries, that was not good, but some of her more recent work has been pretty good. She did a Visionary story back up in Transformers Unicron.
Right.
And it was actually good. I thought it was pretty well done. It was significantly better than anything she'd done previously. So there's a lot of room for improvement, but still a significant step up for her. So you just have to kind of get by your own ego. And when you put yourself into every character, you can't do that. You cannot separate that, because that is a part of you then. That is you. And wrenching yourself away is pretty difficult.
That's kind of disappointing. The last two things that Jim said, he's like talking about the humility, and he says, no way, no humility. She was one of the most pretentious people at ECCC. Oh my God, she was sitting at an invited guest spot, and she brought nothing to the con. That strikes me as odd. Like, the whole point is to have pictures of yourself, examples of your work that are spread out on the table. That's as common as bringing shoes. Like, I don't.
Well, I have to wonder then too. Was she in Artist Alley? Was she, where was she? Was she on a panel? Was she, those are the sorts of questions that I would have for that. Because I mean, if you're not in Artist Alley, you don't have examples set out. If you're not there for a panel sort of thing, you're a featured guest. But unless you're there doing something, then Eh.
Well, so that's another problem with the tokenism thing. If you know that you're the token, you can get away with doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to say a damn thing.
Yeah.
Which is really, really pathetic.
I don't know. I think about people that got the oh, hey, Six is here. And I also saw James Colley earlier. Hey, James, how's it going? If he's still around. The idea of like imagine a writer who doesn't like has some gay friends, might know some trans people, whatever the fuck, and they're like, well, why is Magdalene Visaggio getting all this work? And I've been pitching stories for I don't know how fucking long, and it's like, oh, you just mentioned Magdalene Visaggio. That's you know, transphobic, and it's like, no. It's just to pile work upon one person who is missing deadlines because of the amount of work they have. I've read her tweets complaining about that. She's actually missing work because of like triple, quadruple projects she's working on. That's mind-blowing when there's people out there that couldn't get a contract to save their life. I mean, Jimmy Ellis is here. Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Jim.
So Max Visaggio is sitting in what I'm pretty sure was an invited guest spot. And she's in Artist Alley, first of all. And understand Artist Alley and ECCC is a full floor of the convention center.
Oh, yeah. That's the way it is the ECC, or the C2E2.
And she doesn't bring a banner. She doesn't bring... on her table... I saw some books, okay, but nothing that was like, hey, this is my stuff, okay? I don't think I saw any of her... I think I saw anything that was like her creative work. Every time I passed her table...
do that? That would be my question.
What's that?
Have you ever seen another writer or artist or whoever do that? Like have their table? I've never seen that. An empty table?
Yes, at this same con.
Yes, I have seen that too. At C2E2.
And you know who the other prime example of this at this same con? Gail Simone.
Gail Simone, yeah.
She had some books, but she ate them.
So this is the thing, okay? I never saw Mags at her table. And instead of putting a banner up on the wall, she either her or her manager, girlfriend, whatever the female was that was sitting at her table all the time, had written in it with Sharpie on cardboard that said, Max is too cool for a banner.
Oh, God.
What?
That's like
sounds like somebody's bad joke. Shut up. That didn't happen.
Yes.
That sounds like an edgy trying to be funny humor.
It was. But here's the thing. You're at a con, you're on an Artist Alley floor, you've got hundreds of other people who are not even close to the same level that Mags has achieved, regardless of how she's achieved it. Okay.
Yeah.
And these people are killing it on their displays. Okay. They're bringing in hundreds of people to their booth every day, making money hand over fist. And you've got Mags at a table with a few books strewn around it, no banner saying that that's actually who's sitting there. And she's not at her table most of the time.
That's just poor marketing.
Absolutely.
So, I'm curious. You said that, she was pretentious and so on. So you must have got a sense of things. What was she walking the room like a celebrity?
I have no idea. I never saw her inside the con. Oh. Every time I saw her, she was hanging out in front of the coffee shop across the street from the hotel.
That's weird.
I
brooding think, like a despondent female.
I think some people are definitely, the when you're told you're great all day, every day, that gets to you, that goes to your head. And I think that these people are feeding into their own cycle of delusion, right? Because when someone says, hey, I didn't like this thing that you did, the proper response is, oh, well, what didn't you like? How can I improve? Right? It's not fuck you. It's good the way it is. You need to change.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. But she wasn't the only one that did that. And like I said, Gail Simone did it. And Gail Simone's got a manager. She's got somebody who organizes her shit for her. And all I saw on Gail Simone's table were a couple of autographed scripts and a stack of trades. No banner, no nothing. When right next to her, you've got somebody who none of us have probably heard of, who's just killing it on their display.
Yeah.
Now, when you say that Gail had someone with her, was it a very hairy person that she addressed as Lord Meowington?
No.
Okay, just checking.
We had to
Actually,
Lord Meowington at least once in the stream.
Yeah.
You know what? I do have to, in all honesty, but it's a story of awesomeness. There was one person at a con that I went to that didn't have anything on their table save one hand-drawn picture that he had drawn before starting. That's Stan Sakai. But it's because of how completely unpretentious that guy is.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy. He's the artist and creator of Usagi Yojimbo, for those who don't know. And when I saw that Stan Sky was there, I'm a big fan of the character and that guy's work over the years. So it's like I went up to him. He's so quiet and humble. It's like he didn't think to bring anything, and he had drawn that picture of Usagi before he sat down. And he had a sandwich bag, just a Ziploc bag, full of like old markers and Sharpies and stuff, and drew a piece of original art for me right there. I offered to pay. He said no. That's just who he is. So yeah, he didn't have anything in his table really, but it was coming from a completely different place. You know what I mean?
I can understand that if someone has got their table on a cancellation, and and maybe they've got a week or a couple days to throw stuff together, and they've got nothing. But when you're in an invited guest spot, months in advance that you're going to be there, for goodness sake.
Isn't there a sense of embarrassment when you see everybody else's displays and table setup?
I would hope so, but I doubt it.
And
that's what I mean by pretentiousness.
Yeah. To be fair, those banners are like, what, $35 to make? I mean, that's,
for the nice ones, they run about $50 or $60.
Yeah, $60. You got to call someone. You may have to go out and pick it up. You're describing quite a bit of work that maybe isn't necessary.
This is how much work it would have taken. You gotta understand the level of work it would have taken for them to have a banner made for the show. There was actually a FedEx Kinko's in the hotel where all of the talent was staying that could have printed the banner for them that morning.
Wow. Oh man, you are describing possibly the laziest show attendee ever.
It makes me wonder how that hypothetical lunch I want to have would go. Like, would the whole conversation just be her woe is meing?
No, it would probably just be looking at you with indignation. But I don't know. I'd like to give these people a lot more benefit of the doubt, and hearing stuff like that, it's really hard to.
But Paul, you know who Richard Pace is, right?
Oh yeah, the Canadian angry man. Yes.
I would suggest you have lunch with him over Mags.
Really?
Yes.
Because I got to meet him over the weekend. Strange?
I got to meet him over the weekend.
Okay.
And I bought original art from him.
Okay.
And I think that this is a guy that, by the time I made it over to his table, he had very few things on his table, and in the first moments of the conversation, he said, "I'm sorry I don't have more at my table, but I sold out of everything I brought yesterday." So immediately he's like, "You know what? I screwed up. I didn't plan well enough by bringing enough stuff, and I'm sorry I'm sold out." Which didn't bother me, but he explained why he didn't have much on his table except from some sketchbooks he found in his suitcase. But he was polite, he was respectful, and he was willing to go the extra mile for me as a customer.
Yeah,
right. Well, that stands in contrast to the way that most people who hate comicsgate are like, they don't care about customers, as it were. So that's. Did you guys? I'm curious. You talked to him over the weekend. Did you get into anything about Second Coming?
No.
I was just because they just got Jack. Who did they get publication through? Because DC Vertigo chose not to publish that comic, and then they went
Ahoy,
over to where?
wasn't it?
What was
Ahoy.
it? Vault?
Ahoy.
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 Okay. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I don't know. I would have liked the behind the scenes story as to why they didn't publish and why you guys decided to write like well, he didn't write it, but an edgy 90s comic. It came across like let's do this send up of Jesus and see if we can stoke some controversy with it. That's the way it came across. I don't know.
In the
I
90s.
For somebody who's like, and I don't mean to disparage the guy because he's not here to defend himself, but it's like that is the idea, is that you don't care about your customers very much when you're anti-comicsgate. That's the stereotype, I should say.
Here's the art that he that I bought from him.
Well, it's pretty good.
Nice.
I actually flipped through his art book and he's good. And this is all pen.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought it from him for a reasonable price, which I think he could have sold it to me for more. And then because this is such an old piece, he said, I don't have prints of it anymore, but I do have the high-res file, and I'm happy to let you use it to get a print for yourself.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, and he didn't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was not the interaction I expected from him, but I'm glad I had it. I'm glad I got to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to this, I don't think I'd ever talked to Richard Pace on Twitter or anything like that. So we don't know each other at all, but
he's, if you read through his Twitter, he is rather quick to go the, you're an alt-right Nazi line,
he is, but if you ignore that, everything else is about comics and how and what he's working on and how he wants to do things better. And so I've started to look at what his, what I see on his Twitter and just kind of just do what I do with other people, in that I ignore the politics because I don't have to talk to him about politics. Why should I?
It really, I hear you, and it really does make me think, as people have suggested before, that a lot of people are going along to get along in the industry, and they're just saying what they need to say. You got Neil sending out that tweet after his kerfuffle and run-in on Twitter saying, Donald Trump makes me ashamed to be a white man. And it's like, you've never tweeted anything like that before. And this came after you got bombed on by a bunch of SJWs for suggesting that I've heard there's this bias against conservatives in the comic book industry. We're an industry of creatives, not a political party. I'd hate to think that was the case. And hundreds of, tweets came at him in a big way. 19 hours later, he comes out and says, I've made hundreds of phone calls and I haven't found any evidence of this whatsoever. So it must not be happening. 19 hours, you made hundreds of phone calls? No, you didn't. You just wanted this bullshit to go away and realized you just accidentally, unintentionally swatted a hornet's nest.
Or he's secretly telling us that he has a telemarketing job on the side.
Well, yeah, and he's got an auto dialer asking the same question. Have you ever experienced any?
No, he's
recorded,
he's
right?
selling those vacuum cleaners, the high end ones, and he's like, also, have you ever been blacklisted from comics? If so, I have a perfect vacuum cleaner for you.
As a quick little side note, I knew I saved this picture somewhere, and I had to go onto my old hard drive to find it. But in case anybody in chat is doubting Jim's nerd cred, take a look at his sideshow workup. Jesus Christ, Jim!
Oh shit!
Look at that. Where did the display cases come from? Because they look purpose specific.
So those are IKEA display cases, and I made the lighting myself.
It looks really good.
Yeah,
it does. It looks like Sideshow sells them. Like, do you know what I mean? For their specifically for their figures. And I don't even want to talk about how much each one of those figures is going for. Jim, Jesus.
Jim, if you're adopting, you just let me know, and I will apply with the other kids.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to put some matching comics in the background and some matching Funko Pops on top. It's fine. I'm not a nerd. Don't judge.
I'm super jealous of those Harleys, by the way.
I will say I am not a Funko fan. and I will explain the pops that are up on top
All
by
right.
saying this. The ones on the left, there are 4 pops from Atomic Blonde, and they're the only toys ever made for that movie.
Okay.
I had to have them. Okay. The other 3 that are in the middle on the top are Wonder Woman related pops that I got for free. And that's it.
So free and Atomic Blonde is your explanation.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if the camera panned to the left, we wouldn't see an entire wall stacked with Funko Pops, really?
No, you'd see my kitchen.
And that's where I keep my Funko Pops. In the
Yeah, in the dishwasher where they belong.
It is a matter of self-incrimination. I own one Funko Pop. It was given to me as a birthday gift as a joke by this girl who it's Luke Skywalker in his Endor outfit when he had the green poncho on over top and he's got a lightsaber, and she's like, "You like Luke Skywalker, right?" And I was like, "I do. I thank you for the bobble-headed Funko Pop." I didn't know what to do with it. It's sitting right over there. I'm looking at it right now. But that's the only one I own, and I got it as a gift.
Only bobblehead I own is a Hula Girl Harley that I want to mount to the dashboard of my Mini Cooper.
Right. I'm not gonna lie. There are some sideshows that I've looked at that I would want to buy, but I feel like I'm crossing a Rubicon that I'll never come back from.
Yes,
Right.
Yes, you are. That's exactly what would happen.
The one that Quiz showed me really caught my eye. The Gotham City Sirens one of Black Canary. Her is like a lounge or a swing jazz club singer. It looks great.
Well, I gotta correct you again, dude. That's not Sideshow nor Gotham City Sirens. It's
See, I didn't want to cross the Rubicon to where Quiz is at.
I'm sorry, I gotta correct you here.
I'm not gonna do it. I read the comics and that's fine. That's as far as I'm willing to go. I don't, and as much as I love Star Trek, I own no phasers. I don't own a Starfleet uniform.
No, I don't believe that at all.
I don't either. No one believes that, Polly. You're wearing it right now underneath your smoking jacket.
Hey, so this is Kaz got an interesting question in chat. I want to answer it really quick. It says, quick question to anyone: how would you draw space in a black and white comic? I'll tell you exactly how you draw space in a black and white comic. You're going to do completely black background, and you're going to dip a fan brush into white paint or white ink and fleck it across the black background.
Doesn't even necessarily have to be a fan brush either. You can
toothbrush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Toothbrushes tend to glop it on a little bit thicker than a fan brush will, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I say it all depends on whether or not you want to have that textured look or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you do it.
You can do the same thing with blood splatter. That's what I did for a couple of my senior projects. This is what Polly was talking about.
That's DC. I know what series that's from.
Yeah, it's from the Bombshells series.
It looks, it just looks fantastic. And I could have it and put it up and it wouldn't be, oh, he's just an interesting lounge singer. So like ladies that come over would just be like,
yeah,
they wouldn't dry up quite so quick,
That's not 6 scale either. I think that's a little smaller, I think.
It stands about 1.5 feet tall.
Oh, okay. So it is 6 scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, a chick walks in. She may not know exactly what it is, but her like reproductive sense kicks in. And it's like the spider sense, but for nerd shit. And she's like, something off here. I don't know what, but it's something.
I love that statue. It's really great. My roommate has the Poison Ivy one, and I have the Harley Quinn one. So
one thing that's odd is I want to refer to this as like, how would you draw space black and white? I don't know if you guys know the way that Jack Kirby used to draw space. He would do these weirdo here's examples of it, and I've seen it like that style copied and done in black and white, and it's like, what are these things supposed to be? And there's plenty of explanation, like, oh, it's the side of a galaxy or it's whatever. But when you see these kind of like shapes and stuff, then Jack Kirby or like is famous for originating that, and you could draw that and it would totally look like space, like in black and white, like whatever those plasma
it doesn't matter what they
are supposed to be, you know. Yeah,
that's the firmament where everything is held in our terrarium for the flat earth.
So yeah, you could either do the stars or do these weird plasma trail Kirby designs, and
that's
everyone.
That's what actual space looked like when Jack Kirby was alive.
Space has changed since then. Is that
Sure?
I love that. All I had to do was type in Jack Kirby space, and I got all of these examples of it. It's that well known. I love it. I mean, look at this, like over and over again, that kind of background style. It's just, yeah.
I think there's supposed to be like nebulas and things like that back there.
Yeah. It looks rather, I don't know, soda poppy, effervescent-ish, but it just, come on, it totally sells the notion of space is back there.
You could say it. It's an acid trip.
Yeah, it is.
What are you saying about Jack Kirby, man?
I'm speculating.
We all knew those dudes were high back then.
Yeah.
It's like, when you close your eyes and you rub your hands over your eyes, you get the seeing colors.
There you go. Maybe that's where he got it from, because it does look like that, doesn't it? The eye trails when you're the color bursts when you're rubbing your eyes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Jim, I don't know if you want to hang around for the rest of the show. Feel free to drop out whenever I know you're a busy man. And
don't mind. I'd love to hang around.
No, not at all. Because we're going to talk about what led to the title for today's stream. Does Captain Marvel the Chinese?
Oh, jeez. All right. Let's jump into it.
All right. Bounding into comics. Report: Chinese moviegoers don't think Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is attractive enough. Chinese moviegoers don't think Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is attractive enough. Marvel Studios' latest superhero film was criticized by Chinese moviegoers based on the character's looks. Ooh, those sexist Chineses. Abacus News, which is an English language website focused on China, reports a number of Chinese social media users were not happy with Larson's Captain Marvel's looks. They cited one user who wrote, "I'm not judging a person on their looks, but their main character in a superhero movie shouldn't be a dima. A dima is reportedly a derogatory term for a middle-aged housewife."
It's the soccer mom of China.
Okay, it's mean, but it's funny. Like, let's just go on. They also point to another user who edited a side-by-side image of Tom Holland's Spider-Man's rear end next to Brie Larson's Carol Danvers, stating the reputation of Captain Marvel was destroyed by this picture. Yeah, we covered that in a previous article, the notoriously flat butt of Brie Larson. And for some reason, Tom Holland is popping that junk in the trunk. Like, he's got a bubble butt. It's wild. However,
thanks for that analysis.
I'm just putting it out there because they didn't put up the picture, so I had to describe it. I didn't want to leave the audience hanging. I care about our crowd, Jack.
Well, with the way you described it, and we need to remember, people, Polly is black. He's allowed to say it.
Yeah, I'm allowed. Okay. However, it wasn't all one-sided. Some defended Larson's Captain Marvel. One person wrote on the popular Chinese social media site Weibo, "Do you think Weibo's working a multifaceted style?"
She's a spy.
She's rich with her name,
Yeah. Quote, "Why must the superheroes look sublimely beautiful? This face, though, it's exactly what Captain Marvel calls for." Lack of excitedness? Okay. Another person wrote, "I wish we could all avoid double standards. Is Tony Stark young? Is he well built? Yes. What do you mean? He's fit as hell. Lots of guys would kill for his build. He's got pecs and everything. He worked out." Anyway, do you all like him because of his muscles? No, we like him because of his charm and easygoing personality. Take note, Brie. Captain Marvel might have dominated U.S. box office, bringing in over $270 million at the domestic box office over the past 2 weeks, but it hasn't quite fared as strong in China. Chinese box office tracker Maoyan, whatever, reports that the film has made $83 million. When it debuted, it was the top movie in China. However, its second weekend, it was bested by More Than Blue, a romance film. Chinese box office tracking has come under close scrutiny as of late. In 2017, IndieWire reported that the makers of the Chinese film Monster Hunt admitted to giving moviegoers 40 million free tickets in order to boost its numbers and beat out Universal Pictures' Furious 7 for the distinction of the highest grossing title made in mainland China. They also reported that IP Man 3? Ip Man, okay. Ip Man 3 were inflated by around 4.7 million through so-called ghost screenings, sold out shows with higher ticket prices that never actually took place, and an additional 8.3 million by buying up tickets in bulk.
Well, didn't Captain Marvel come under scrutiny for that exact thing?
Allegedly.
It was pure allegedly, and it wasn't, in my opinion, a very convincing story. It was like, is Disney buying its own tickets online to boost sales? Because many theaters were empty on opening weekend that reported having sold out. That could easily just as be people who didn't show up for the screening.
Well, I mean, the one
their
dude
babysitter backed out or whatever.
The one dude that that said that was like, this is, you know, unprecedented, at least for his theater. And the reason why I, you know, have my doubts about it is the fact that my local theater, when I was looking for seats for Captain Marvel, just to kind of prove a point, on opening day, only I think like 2 times had any sort of large amount of people there to see the movie. Every other time, maybe 1 or 2.
Well, I think we have to look at the possibility that somebody else, some, you know, maybe super SJW group bought tickets in advance, and it wasn't Disney doing it, it was some third party doing it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, were they bought, like if it's bought by the company, then it's a self-licking ice cream cone and it has no purpose, right? If it's some person other than Disney buying it, then it doesn't matter. They're still sold, you know?
Yeah.
The last line here is interesting. However, they aren't just inflating numbers, meaning the Chinese market. Many local theaters might underreport sales in order to pocket the cash for themselves. Business Insider corroborated this report just last year, indicating that there is rampant fraud in China when it comes to box office sales. In fact, they estimate that, quote, 40% of tickets may be reported incorrectly or never recorded at all. Now, that's something I find interesting. When you have a company that, not just in movies, but in anything, they will try and inflate the amount of revenue they have coming in and the amount of debt they have on their balance sheets, because those things come under analysis and then end up either helping or not hurting their stock prices much. Classic games of, you know, money coming in and out of their business. Why I can easily see a company like Sony or Disney or whoever being all too willing to accept inflated sales figures from China because, oh yeah, look, our sales figures are great. Don't hurt our stock price. Like, you know, whether or not the money's actually coming in the door is less relevant than our stock price falling. Do you know what I mean? Because that would be more damaging to the company than anything. I know I keep going back to Enron as an example, but that's exactly how that company fell apart. And it's such a spectacular case study. We're going to pretend that we have far less debt than we actually have, and the money we have coming in is far greater than it actually is. And you can keep that up for a while, but eventually the bottom falls out of that pretty quickly. And when it does so in spectacular fashion. I don't know. You see some desperate moves when Disney is putting pressure on Rotten Tomatoes to change the way that they do things based upon, I don't want to see the movie clicks. That's really a deep level of concern being betrayed, in my opinion.
I think it's more of an overreaction. I don't think they're in any kind of real trouble. A lot more movies would have to tank before they were in serious trouble. I think it's just they wanted this to achieve greater heights than it really realistically probably should have.
Now, Jim.
Yes.
You said that after seeing the first trailer when you were on our stream a good while ago that I'm still going to see it 3 or 4 times. Have you gone and seen it more than once, Captain Marvel?
Yes. Yep.
How many times did you see it?
3 times in the opening weekend.
That somewhat explains your display case. Okay. Well, so after having seen it 3 times in a short order, what's your call on it? What do you think of it generally? Captain Marvel, I mean, movie.
It's a mediocre Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's man, if you want to pick the movie apart, there are so many things you can pick the movie apart on. But if you're just there to watch an entertaining, popcorn munching semi-action movie, it's okay. Brie Larson isn't terrible. She's actually believable as an Air Force pilot, at least in my experience with Air Force pilots. And there was nothing really in the movie that made me like roll my eyes or except the cat. The cat was just over the top for me. But a lot of people like the cat, and I get it. You know, he stole the show in a couple of ways.
But otherwise, that stole the show. That says a lot.
But otherwise, it was just a middle of the road Marvel movie.
Now, you said you didn't roll your eyes at anything. I full on face palmed when No Doubt I'm Just a Girl came on when she flies up and starts kicking ass. I was like, okay.
Well, okay. So that scene in particular, I'll agree with someone else that it had this comment about that was it was a poorly edited sequence in the sense that if that's the music that you wanted to use, then you needed to edit the fight differently. Okay. If you were going to keep the fight the way you wanted it to be, you needed to use different music.
Right.
Okay. In that whole fight sequence, there is one spot that unfortunately I think they should have done another take. They should have gotten better lighting on her face. It's where she kind of gets an idea of there's a pause in the fight where she gets thrown back into something and she gets this look on her face like, wow, this is fun.
Right.
And holy crap, that would have changed the whole fight if they had made the fight fun. And I think they tried, but they just missed.
Yeah. I thought some of the action beats were a little off. And the 2 parts that really bothered me were that song being played when there were better 90s songs they could add fight music for.
Yes.
And the whole thing with Nick Fury losing his eye was dumb to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Otherwise, yeah, I completely agree. It was just a mediocre Marvel movie.
Do you think that Nick Fury's statement in Winter Soldier, who said, "I trusted someone once, and it cost me an eye." Do you think that was fulfilled by the scene?
I do.
You're so generous. I love it. It's great.
And here's the thing. So we've established, Marvel's established across all of these movies that Nick Fury is he exaggerates things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was it Tony Stark that said Nick Fury is like the spy?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's something like, Nick Fury is the spy of spies or something like that. And yeah, absolutely. In that case, you know what? Yeah, Nick Fury lies a lot about a lot of shit. And I think, I mean, we'll go back to the whole when Coulson died and he smeared blood on the cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he set that up.
Yeah, he did. That's true, to motivate them.
And
he gets called on it, and he admits it. Yeah,
and then the whole, I lost my eye because I trusted someone. Well, yeah, sort of.
if you reach, it gets there. Okay.
He kind of you know, he thought he trusted the cat because the cat was, you know, was fighting on their side and everything, and he thought he was being cute with the cat.
Oh, no spoilers for the audience.
You know, but yeah.
I don't know. The way he said it, I was just expecting something more to come out of it, which didn't really end up happening. So,
yeah, it was a.
But then again, you're right. I mean, I'm not going to disagree that the guy is obviously a liar. Well, manipulator.
Yeah, manipulator. Absolutely manipulator.
You know, he does. You know, lie through omission to Steve Rogers to get him to go onto the ship. When reality, he gave one mission to Steve Rogers and another one to Natasha Romanoff. She was there to recover the SHIELD data and tells them both different stories, you know, and that's why Steve Rogers goes and confronts him. So yeah, he's a manipulator, and he was talking at that one point to kind of, I know what it's like in the real world, was his point. And so, yeah, why not make up a story about my eye?
That's his job, though. And that was Stark's point, was he's a spy.
Well, okay, you're a comics guy and a collector. Let me ask you this: do you think the cat being the star of the show justified the series of cat variants from Marvel?
Fuck no.
No, you're not. That's where you draw the line.
So you're not on board with Marvel Meow?
No.
Marvel meow.
Am I saying meow? Do I look like a cat to you, boy?
Do you see me jumping all nimbly
Nimbly.
From tree to tree?
Let's
dorks.
You know things have devolved when we start quoting fucking Super Troopers.
Quote, devolved or got better?
Yeah, right.
Let's talk about this depressing story that Jack sent me, because it really is some nerdery. Marine veteran offers $1,000 reward after burglary at his comic shop.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And Catherine Underwood's looking kind of hot there. Just saying, just putting that out there.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. A Marine Corps veteran in New Hampshire is offering a $1,000 reward for anyone that can help police catch the man who broke into his gaming store and stole hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of playing cards. Even though the crime isn't impacting day-to-day business and the store will be just fine, the owner tells NBC 10 Boston this is deeply personal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Merrimack Games and Comics is so much more than a hobby for owner Chris Lepowski. Lepowski. The veteran says it... Lepkowski. Okay. Chris Lepkowski. The veteran says it's given him purpose after returning from his deployment in Afghanistan. Bastards. It's such a mentally shift back to the civilian world. And it's like, okay, what am I going to do with myself now? He explained. When the security alarm went off late Sunday night and he rushed into his store to see evidence of a burglary, he called it a punch to the gut. It hurts, he said. To me, it's a lot of disrespect. Merrimack police are looking for the burglar who was caught on indoor security cameras. They say he broke into the shop, went straight for the glass case, knocked it over, and stole many Magic the Gathering cards as possible. Jesus. Lepkowski says that certain cards are known to be valuable. He thinks the thief made off with well over $1,000 worth of cards. Quote, I'm hoping it wasn't just for the thrill of it. Well, no, it seems pretty targeted. It wasn't for the thrill of it. And I'm hoping he actually needed the money, he said. But seriously, there's better ways to do it. Better ways, Lepkowski says, like just asking. Okay. I've had guys who say, hey, I'm getting married.
$1,000 worth of cards? No.
No.
I've had guys say, hey, I'm getting married. I need a down payment on a house. And I'm like, sure, let me help out the best I can, Lepkowski said. Loyal customer Eric Blackley told NBC 10 Boston he's seen Lepkowski generosity firsthand. He says through his service, his generosity, his charity work, Lepkowski has become a beloved member of the Merrimack community. That's why his customers say this criminal hit the wrong store. He's given a lot for his country, a lot for the community. And to see a person take advantage of like this is really disheartening, Blackie said. Lepkowski is offering a $1,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of this case. He's also promising to donate $500 to that person's charity of choice. There you go. I mean, I don't I don't know. Is it? I don't play Magic the Gathering. I'm on this side of the Rubicon. What does is it easy to recognize, like on face value, what's a valuable Magic Gathering card? Are they like hollow foil fancy
Yep.
or yeah?
Well,
Yeah.
it depends. There's certain cards that are more valuable than others, and then the condition of the card matters, and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, but if you're a gamer or collector, you're gonna know what to look for.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, a Black Lotus, yoink.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
But you would
Yeah, like a Black Lotus that sold for $10,000 on auction.
would I be able to recognize that, or you just have to know it's a rare card?
You'd have
So
to
like
know.
so like
it's a
I run it.
rare card.
Yeah.
Okay,
you'd
so
have
I
to
run
know.
into the store and I go to shatter the case. It's not going to be obvious which one. I'm just curious.
No, it would be
No.
obvious if you
Well-
if the price tag was on it.
Yeah, but
Most stores I know will keep their cards on. Displayed cards are usually rares, are more valuable, and they'll put their valuable cards in a separate spot in their case.
Or in a vault. I know
Yeah,
there's
it depends.
there's
but
some people
don't
that
give me
have like
back room.
yeah.
But if you see if you see a Black Lotus in the wild, it's fake.
Why this Black Lotus you guys keep mentioning? What, they only printed like 3 of them or something?
It was a first printing card. They never reprinted it, and the ones that are in circulation are extremely rare.
Okay. Well,
To my
You got-
knowledge, too, it's not all that powerful in the current zeitgeist of the game. It's just that it's an extremely rare card.
Yeah,
That's kind of a status thing.
Mhm.
it's
and
like our
and one
it's
sold
like
for 10
our
grand.
it's like our first appearance of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's. I don't know if I'd willing to be willing to pay the what 50 grand that Amazing Fantasy 14 is going for. Isn't that it? I know Quiz is going to have some thoughts on this story. Let's see. Here we go. After Disney rehires James Gunn, actor James Wood questions why Roseanne hasn't been rehired.
Good. Yeah. Well, no, she should be rehired, and so should James Gunn.
Actor James Wood, who plays Hades in Disney's animated Hercules movie, questioned if Roseanne Barr will get rehired to her job after Disney rehired James Gunn to direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I don't know, Roseanne Barr. Does your little TV show bring as much money as a Guardians of the Galaxy movie? Doubt it. I think that's how they found their ability to get over it. So here's his tweet. Oh, and is the real Roseanne back on Roseanne 2? Oh, wait. Yeah, no. Not going to happen. Yeah, there's her original tweet. Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby. Equals what's her name there? Valerie. What's her name?
Really?
What's that?
I'm just fucking around.
It's Jesus. ABC Entertainment president Channing Duggery would condemn Roseanne Barr's tweets as Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values, and we have decided to cancel her show. According to the Daily Wire, well, that's pretty biased source to be quoting from, but okay. Roseanne initially defended the tweet by saying that she didn't realize Jarrett, that's her name, Valerie Jarrett, was not white. She would later, she wasn't black either, and everyone said it was racist, in that way. She would later tweet out that she was referring to anti-Semitism in the Planet of the Apes movie written by Rod Serling. Yeah, but she also said it was the fault of Ambien, no?
Yeah.
That was another thing she said, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, she said this, she said that.
Well, you've got to take into consideration here then too that there's 2 different reactions taking place. What did James Gunn do when he was called out for the things that he said and did in the past? He deleted them. He didn't fight Disney on his firing. He didn't do any of that kind of stuff. It was Dave Bautista that did that, but James Gunn didn't do that. Roseanne Barr blamed it on other things. Tried to deflect and say that the jokes weren't jokes, or the jokes were still jokes, or something like that. I don't know or care too much. All I'm saying is that every single person trying to take a moral stance on all of this is a pretentious fuckwit that needs to stop taking themselves so goddamn seriously, especially people that are critical of James Gunn. Yes,
Well,
I'm calling out EVS on this. I think you're wrong, Ethan.
Well, my call on that would, what was his reaction? To private his account and delete 25,000 tweets. He didn't delete one or two. He fucking scrubbed.
When you've got that kind of heat on you, you go 10 years, delete everything from 10 years ago.
Well, moralizing over it, I would generally agree with. However, I don't think that that's what James Woods is doing here. I think he's like, why isn't there a consistent standard, you hypocritical bastards?
I don't think James Woods is either. And I say that Roseanne should get her show back. But, installing a director that had already completed a lot of work on a movie is a lot harder than getting a whole TV show rehired to do a TV show, because there's all cast and crew, writers, and so on and so forth for a TV show, a larger commitment involved with a TV show than a movie. It's apples and oranges.
Well, you know what? Well, okay, but if we're playing fair here, what's also apples and oranges is we're just not going to have him direct. It wasn't like it ended up canceling the entire show. It's done. It's over. So all the people behind the camera, as well as the actors, are all gone. They didn't cancel the movie, Disney. They just got rid of the director.
Well, did they? Because he was only gone for like a few months.
A couple months, yeah.
Was he just on sabbatical? And they're like, all right, you just leave. We'll wait till it blows over, and we'll just pretend you're fired.
Well, I thought about that. It's hard not to be cynical when it comes to corporations dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars. It's like they take that shit obviously pretty seriously, and with good reason. It's a lot of money involved. And it's like, you know what? Let's just see if we can make this stuff die down. We'll put out our media feelers, because what was reported before he was coming back was Disney is using James Gunn's script. And is there any reaction? Let's wait and see. And it's like, no, there wasn't a reaction. As a matter of fact, a lot of people weren't happy. And it's like, okay, fuck it. Let's bring them back. I'm sure there's plenty of six-figure salaried PR people involved in advising Disney on shit like this.
I think that the major thing for the difference between James Gunn and Roseanne, when it all comes down to it, is that, TV shows and movies work entirely differently. James Gunn, trying to articulate this, because neither one of them should have gotten fired for what they did, right?
Okay.
For what was actually done. And I hate the fact that when this sort of thing happens, because this is what I was trying to articulate before. James Gunn and his stance taken on Roseanne, because this is, I think, what James Woods was really getting at, right? Because James Gunn was one of those people that was definitely vocal about what Roseanne said, and was one of those people that was trying to get her fired. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bullshit thing that he should be criticized for. Absolutely. But that's not, the whole point behind what's happening is to take everything by a case-by-case basis. And James Gunn was not given that same sort of consideration for a very long time. And neither was Roseanne. Just stop trying to get people fired.
All right, I got an idea.
It's stupid and makes you look like a dick.
No, I have a plan that may work really well. All right.
Shoot.
Movie written by James Gunn, directed by Bryan Singer, starring Kevin Spacey. It's about a troop of Boy Scouts led by Kevin Spacey, who must fight off, because they're going to a summer camp filled with Catholic priests. And what is invading? A horde of zombie clones of Michael Jackson.
Oh. I don't even know what to make of that.
Sounds like a movie on par with something made by Uwe Boll.
I don't watch that movie. I'm just saying.
I'm sure you would, but no one else would. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you got
and Jim muted himself because he's like, I hate this guy so much.
I decided to play with my dog for a moment and thought I'd keep quiet.
Speaking of which, I knew it was inevitable that Jack was going to bring up lizard people, and because
I haven't done it yet.
Yes, you have. I heard it. You were edging towards it.
Yeah, I was.
I was watching an episode of Star Trek Enterprise last night, and something popped up, and I'm like, oh, I got to get a screen capture of that for Jack. Look, they're all lizard.
They're all lizard people.
They're all lizard people underneath those human masks, man.
Oh my God, are they Gorn?
Shit.
They're onto us.
Archer punches this guy in the face, and he's down on like this pre-industrial planet, and he's in this fight with this guy. Bang! Punches him over, and he's like looking at the guy, and the camera pulls into his face, and I'm like, my God, what's wrong with that guy's face? And like that's what Archer must have thought, because he leans up and pulls his face off, and it's like, oh my God, it's a lizard man.
Oh, it'd have been great if he literally just pulled the guy's face off. He's like, and he's wearing a mask, and then just a bunch of like muscle and stuff under there.
Yeah. Just pulled his face off.
Yeah, he just pulls a whatchamacallit. John Woo. He's nothing but muscle and tendon left. So yeah, I saw. Now you guys know I'm a big fan of Silver Surfer, and Marvel has announced a new Silver Surfer limited series running. You care to see the art samples from it?
Do we want to?
Something tells me it's not going to look very good.
I have better art over here.
Wait, it's like looking good. Okay, so Silver Surfer returns a new comic by Donny Cates and Tradd Moore. Marvel Comics today announced a new Silver Surfer miniseries by writer Donny Cates from Guardians of the Galaxy and Venom, and artist Tradd Moore, who really needs to rethink some life decisions. Silver Surfer Black #1 will pick up on the events of Cates' Guardians of the Galaxy #1, when Norrin Radd, who's Silver Surfer's humanoid name, for those who don't know, was sucked into a black hole along with many other cosmic heroes of the Marvel Universe by the Black Order. When Donny Cates wrote the first issue of the new Guardians of the Galaxy series, we both agreed that Silver Surfer's adventure wasn't going to end there. And that was still more, there was still more story to be told about what happened to all the cosmic heroes that got sucked. Captain Marvel editor Dan Shan. That'd be funny to stop short. But Marvel editor Darren Shan said in a statement, Donny's imagination really kicked into gear when artist Tradd Moore signed on. Readers won't realize it, but Silver Surfer Black is a culmination of everything Donny had been writing since his Thanos run. And Tradd Moore is delivering some of the craziest visuals in a Marvel comic today. Is he ever?
Yeah, because you're gonna have to turn the page a lot to figure out which way is up.
Dude, all that is that's a gray.
Yeah,
exactly. It is, isn't it? That's right.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not making a fist with an index finger out, so probe you.
Well, that's why his hand is black, isn't it?
It's disappeared upside the cosmic anus.
Yeah, like he was giving a Galactus a prostate check there.
Like, I'm really biased because original Jack Kirby Silver Surfer, even the French artist, what's his name? Mobius. His Silver Surfer is totally different, but I'm a big fan of that too. And then, of course, the greatest of them all, Ron Lim, in my opinion. The way that he drew Silver Surfer just looks fucking fantastic. This, because they're talking about like black holes and what happens after they got sucked and stuff. I'm wondering, is it because they're in like psychedelic black hole realm? So everything's all wobbly and shit? I want to be in
psychedelic black hole realm.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a terrible artist. And I'm sorry, Tradd Moore makes me think it's some sort of hipster skating term. But
yeah,
I've seen his work before, and I don't like his style. I mean, look at that arm. That's a Liefeld arm.
Well, look at the fingers. Like, is that supposed to be silvery effect, or are his fingers actually all wobbly because he's in psychedelic realm?
I think there's some, like, maybe some sort of distortion going on. Like, I don't know. Without seeing context of the page, I don't know what's going on here.
Well, I mean, here's
someone needs to slap his dad.
Yeah.
Who the fuck names their kid Tradd?
Right?
Well, yeah. It's
It's a tradition.
Ouch. Yeah. Wow.
That was worse than
Apologize for nothing.
That was worse than me coming up with the kid did Captain Marvel the Chinese. Galactus's face there. That is atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about budgets. It's like they simply don't have the budget to hire quality artists across the board for all of their series, so they hire quote unquote Tumblr trash. And it maybe I don't know why artists that like it's not that you're bad, you're just not at the professional level or your style doesn't fit within the superhero genre. You know what I mean? Like it's keep working at it kind of thing. When I go over to DeviantArt, I see stuff that's like, yeah, man, keep working at it. This could look cool after some more development of your technique kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they that level is what I see being published in the big two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, is that a budget thing? People keep making that call. I'm not there when they're making these decisions. Is that what's going on? Or is their taste just gone to hell? Or maybe I'm stuck in the past. I don't know.
I actually like this picture except for Galactus's face. Because a lot of artists have trouble with faces now.
Galactus's face isn't even all that bad. It's
that mouth looks hideous.
Well, it's the position of the chin.
I was going to say, this almost looks like someone took a Kirby background and slapped a new Silver Surfer on the front of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. By the way, guys, yeah, for those of you in chat, there's the Kirbyisms. Look at the little effervescent space thingies. Yeah, but absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out what the colorist was thinking.
I was about to say that, like, it's overly. First of all, the palette isn't very wide, and I get it.
No.
Galactus is supposed to be purple and blue, but what are you doing? Like why did you pick for the Kirbyism plasma stuff a different shade of purple and white in the same way?
But I'm focusing where he wants me to focus, which is on Surfer, and I'm trying to figure out where the light's coming from.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now what this is all about. Hey, we got a sale on pink ink. You guys need any?
Shit.
Yeah.
And
yes, we do.
And I mean, Quiz is a professionally trained artist here. Am I wrong in thinking that the heavy inking makes things pop? So the heavy inking happens on things in the foreground, but yet the heavy inking is done on Galactus in the background, and Surfer is missing any of those dark tones, so he fades into the back. He doesn't pop, but he's supposed to be closer to you a lot.
What's going on here is you've got a high contrast situation. You've got the Galactus, which is heavily inked and darker, but if you look at certain parts of the image, Galactus is less in focus, mainly like places where the detail is not quite so important. Every place other than his face, basically.
Right.
The reason why they did it in reverse like that, normally it would be the case. If you want things to pop in the foreground, you make them darker. The reason why they didn't do that is because, number one, Silver Surfer is supposed to be, reflective. You're supposed to get that sort of look from the Silver Surfer. So they did it the opposite way so that the Silver Surfer would pop, given the fact that the weight of the image is more in the dark parts. So everything else in the background is darker. So the weight of the lighter parts from that's the Silver Surfer is going to come to the fore more.
This is actually, this isn't that's why it looks so wildly different. I didn't notice that. This is the variant cover by Nick Bradshaw. And that is the straight up cover by our man Trad.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to get this comic just to fucking leaf through it, because I would love that every page was like this. Like, ironically, like, dude, let's just, like, what's with them eyes, man? Like, what are you trying to do? Some Spider-Man mask eyes here? What do you...
He's concentrating on his probing. See, he's got the fist.
Yeah, he's had fingers up his butt, and he's decided that there was an alien instead of being gay.
Like, what's going on?
He sexually identifies as a gray poly.
What's going on with the anatomy of his arm here? Like, his elbow bone doesn't go there. It goes like here. Anyway,
he's melting.
I think
he's melting. Yeah.
Some little girl came over and threw a bucket of water on him, and he's like, "My beautiful wickedness."
What a world! What a world! What a world!
So there it is. Oh yeah, I do want to talk about this thing because it's awesome. Even though it's talked about on CBR, but they are a shill site. For those of you who are interested, and I don't know why you wouldn't be. Come on, let's go. Goddamn Chrome, it's not responding. Oh no, I can't share. Well, thanks to Chrome, this might be the end of the fucking stream, guys. Waiting. Talk amongst yourselves.
So, if people out there are bored and have lots of money, they can give it to me at my Streamlabs. Here's a link. I figured it was perfect time to shill.
Blue Mamba #2 is coming, guys.
Is it really? What's the status of that anyway?
I just before I came on, I finished a brief rewrite of issue #2. I need to have somebody read it, a particular somebody, because I'm going for. I need some specific feedback on the script.
You said you were looking for a POC lesbian, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it just doesn't need to be POC. I need someone who can read this and focus on the relationship. So, I might have an artist lined up. I talked to somebody over the weekend who's working out their schedule, and we'll see as soon as he or she says yes. I'll make that announcement. So
nice.
So Ala Garza isn't coming back for issue 2?
No.
Okay.
Well, we're looking forward to it, man.
Jack Gunsky asks, says that will there be a fundraiser for #2? Yes, there will. Once it's ready to go into production, we'll start the crowdfunding, just like the last one.
Frosted Glass, you lost me at can read.
Well, that's the beauty of comic books. It's a visual medium, so you'll just have to wait for the pictures.
Oh shit! He's duplicated.
Really, how much Chrome sex have I? It's up.
What? Yeah. Huh?
Huh? What?
Just
What?
putting that up.
I'm hearing you twice, dude. What's wrong with you?
No, you're not. I'm gullible, but come on, I'm not going to go look it up in the dictionary. I'm not that bad. All right.
There's no such word.
Oh, get ready. Seizures incoming.
No.
It'll stop.
Switch to another tab and then come back.
There we go. God damn it, Chrome. Can you suck anymore? Okay, Frank Miller's Daredevil saga and a collected Marvel box set. Who doesn't want that? Look at it.
I've still not read it, but I've heard it's really good.
Well, you don't. So, Jim, you don't dig Daredevil at all? Because I know it's not a problem with Frank Miller. He's awesome.
Neither.
So you like Frank Miller? Okay, cool.
Neither. I really have zero interest in Daredevil, and I've not followed Frank Miller's work enough to care.
Fair enough. See, unlike Quiz over there, you are admitting you don't follow his work very closely, so they don't really have an opinion. You don't care. Yeah,
All-Star Batman and Robin sucked.
So Quiz will read one series and claim that he understands the man's whole career. It's a little wild.
Hey, I really like Dark Knight Returns.
Well, anybody of good taste does. That's good.
I like 300.
Yeah, 300 was pretty awesome.
All-Star Batman and Robin sucks.
It's misunderstood.
It sucks.
Anyway,
I love collected editions like this. I'm a big fan. It's going to be more money than I'm going to be able to shell out for it, though. Unfortunately, it's I don't even want to talk about the fucking price. I mean, holy shit!
Is it hardcover or these paperbacks?
Those are in hardcover and then later coming out in paperbacks.
Yeah. I would say the hardcover is going to be retardedly expensive, but with the slip covers for the collected edition and paperback, you're looking at maybe around 100, maybe $120
for the soft cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Grand total of fucking almost 1,900 pages, just shy of 1,900 pages in total. Like, what a great way to buy all of it in soft, because it's only the whales and the really hardcore people that are going to be able to justify shelling out that kind of money for the hardcovers.
Hang on. As a whale, how much is this again for the hardcovers?
I don't even want to know. It hasn't been announced yet. Just
it's going to be expensive then.
Yeah.
All right.
If they don't want to say. And that brings me over to like a good example here. I talked to you guys about this. The Usagi Yojimbo special edition hardcovers. It's nice. Everything of Stan Sakai that he did over at Fantagraphics. All of them collected into 1,200 pages, 2 volumes, hardcover. Yeah, it's only going for $400.
Oh, I want that.
I would.
Miss Streamlabs is in the chat.
Yeah,
help you get
only
this.
400.
Yeah, I'm really seriously considering getting the soft cover. That's at, I think it's $70. It's, you know, much more within the realm. But God, I'd love to have the hardcover. There's not a lot of collector's stuff that I would buy, but I'm a big fan of Usagi Yojimbo. So to have all, and it's all the extras that I want. That's why I would be buying the soft covers. New interviews, all of the special one shots, all of the Fantagraphic stuff in 2 wicked slipcover editions. Awesome. That's the I really love having it. And that reminds me of oh my God! How can you resist the adorableness? Come on. It's so adorable. On that note, come on, Jim. Doesn't that just melt your heart? Look at that. He's got little swords and a little comma, little top knot. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a simple character, but I love him to death. He's just great. On that note, I think it's time we move over to pitches. And Jim, you're welcome to hang around. You don't have to pitch anything because it was out of the blue invitation. We're happy to have you here, but you can hang around if you'd like. Either way.
I actually have one.
Oh, no. Perfect. We can keep our running thing going. If you come on, you have to pitch. So who would like to go first? Is it rude or generous to ask our guest to go first?
I'm fine to go first.
All right, it's generous. Jim, would you like to go first?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Let's see if I can make this happen. Where do I want to be?
John Bigda says toy review channels. Well, that's actually somebody's custom toy that they made They made like a personal Akama. That's not a for sale plushie of Usagi you can buy. They just I love the idea of somebody sitting down at a sewing machine sewing up a mini Hakama and making a little top knot for him. It's like, wow, you're dedicated.
So my pitch is actually one that I just read the first volume of this last night, and it's called Sunstone. And I would try and pronounce this guy's name, but I would screw it up. But I'll tell you, I picked this up at the ECCC this past weekend, because I need to get into research of learning the lesbian relationships. All right, plain and simple. Need to get better at my dialogue. Need to get better at my exposition. And found this, picked it up, flipped through the volume 1, and bought all 6 volumes right away. Nice. The start of the series, the whole series explores the relationship between these 2 women, and it's a little bit of slice of life type of a thing. But the big focus here is the relationship between these 2 women and their exploration of themselves and each other, and it uses a BDSM as a background. So if you're into that, you like that type of stuff, this book is definitely for you. But what I really enjoyed reading issue 1 was seeing them develop or just have that budding part of their relationship, the beginning of it. And I'll show a little bit of interior to give you an idea of what interior art looks like. And there's nudity in this book, and I'm not going to show any here because we're a classy stream, right?
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah. And as I'm reading this, here's this page I'm showing right now is actually kind of a funny, humorous part in this volume 1, where the lead character has actually revealed some information about her new relationship to a friend that she had friends with benefits type of relationship with. And at the end there, she realizes, oh shit, I've just made a mistake. But it's very, it comes off as very believable, very realistic. And one of the things that I enjoyed, some of the back of the book content is the writer talking about his process of how he got from point A to point B in developing this book. And he did what I need to do with Blue Mamba, which is, and unfortunately I don't have a wife to do this, but he had his wife read all the scripts to make sure that the dialogue sounded correct, that the conversations between the women actually were believable. And as you read this, it's believable. I read the whole first issue or the first volume, and it made me believe that these women were in a relationship, and not just a transparent one that you would find in your typical comic books today.
I'm for an actual presentation of a lesbian relationship, even one that delves into BDSM stuff, as opposed to the candy coated Disney way that Cena Grace presents a gay relationship. You know?
Yeah. And this just, like I said, this was, I picked this up as research, and as I read through the first issue or through the first volume, it made me believe that these were two people trying to develop a relationship with each other, actually falling for each other, actually realizing that, that oh shit, this is more than just a friendship. Mm-hmm. And because it's about developing a lesbian relationship, but I believe that that neither of them go into this relationship starting out as lesbians. I think it was just kind of, so far the what I get is just, this was just kind of a thrill seeking thing for both of them. And then, by the end of it, they're like, wow, this, we actually like each other. This is more than just sex.
I say I've read a little bit of this one. I remember seeing it on a CO thread on 4chan.
Mm-hmm.
I read a bit of it. That's one place that I get a lot of recommendations from, is boards like that. And
so, who would feel like going next? I'm ready to go if you guys aren't.
Go for it.
Hey, as a quick side note, you want to see a really cool cosplay picture of Rogue in her Extreme X-Men outfit?
Sure.
Random aside.
Yeah, she's pulling it off. Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It's clever the way they made her look like she was flying. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually just jumping off a cliff. That's
last picture.
It's the last moment that we saw of her.
Yeah. She wanted to go out like a hero. There she is. I'm going to have my flying moment. Now, remember, get it the first time. We can't do this twice.
And we can do it twice. We just do a Weekend at Bernie's thing.
It sounds familiar. It sounds like might have been pitched by Daffy Duck before.
Well, it'd be more Wile E. Coyote. He's more known for falling off of cliffs to his, well, not quite death. I am pitching something that Jack and I had discussed, excuse me, off stream for a little bit. And I didn't think I'd ever pitch this, but I ended up reading through and I thought, fuck it, why not? For those of you who want a little bit more focus on art and less on wordy words, I am pitching. Oh, come on. Hangouts. Are you doing it again?
Oh no.
Oh God, it is. Okay, so who wants to pitch? Because it's not going to be me, for Christ's sake. Fucking Chrome. Fuck.
I suppose I can go in the interim while you fix that.
I'll be back. Fucking
All
hell.
right. Well, I don't know. Wait, can we really pitch in the interim? Because
Sure.
well, it all depends on whether or not Polly can focus on us.
As long as you keep talking, you'll be fine.
Oh, all right. Well, I suppose we could do that. So my pitch is written by the great Chuck Dixon, artists John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson, colorist Christine Scheel. My pitch is Punisher Batman. I fucking love this comic. It's great. It's got essentially they don't go into like any sort of like convoluted bullshit about needing to have universes cross. Frank Castle is just fully aware that Gotham is a place, and he goes he hates going there. But he's following the trail of Jigsaw, and he finds out that Jigsaw has gone to Gotham. And Batman is hard on the trail of this new mob boss that seems to have invaded Gotham, and Jigsaw is that man, and Jigsaw runs into the Joker. So there's all sorts of shenanigans that take place where Jigsaw and the Joker are terrorizing Gotham City, and it's up to Frank Castle and Bruce Wayne to put an end to it. It's fucking great. I love this comic.
So, can everyone hear me? Am I back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, sorry about that. So it was I only caught the last little bit of what you were saying there. So it's Frank Castle versus Batman, or are they teaming up?
They team up. Well, they kind of fight when Frank Castle first gets there. But Batman puts him down because Frank Castle had run out of bullets.
Okay.
And eventually they work together to try and bring a stop to the Joker and Jigsaw.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna try one more time. See if it freezes. Haha! There we go. Todd McFarlane's first foray into writing. Spider-Man, it's simply called. Not amazing, not spectacular, not web, but Spider-Man. The thing that Jack and I thought was so interesting about this is that the whole series is a bunch of individual story arcs. You can see this is Torment, part 1 of 5. It's the way they all ran. As soon as that 5-part story arc was over, it was another 3-part story arc, and then another 6-part story arc. And that's the way that McFarlane back in the day chose to draw. And what I love in looking at this comic is just like, this is McFarlane Unleashed, where this guy's like a fucking rock star at this point. This is after his run on Amazing Spider-Man, where Marvel's like, okay, everyone's loving your art style. It's so expressive and such that, you know, go ahead and do what you want. And he starts just going crazy with the panels, like running top to bottom on the page like this. And 2-page spread, Spider-Man. It is not the, how do I want to say it? Todd McFarlane called this Legends of the Arachnite. Let's take off on Legends of the Dark Knight. What if Spider-Man stories were told in a very dark way, as Batman stories ended up getting told? And we're going to reimagine Spider-Man as the Arachnite, as this very dark figure who's involved in all of these macabre scenes. As you can tell, this story, Torment, is focused in and around Doc Connors as the Lizard, and the way he, oh yes, lest we forget about the way he draws Mary Jane, pouty-lipped model as she is.
Fucking massive eyes! Oh my god!
Yeah, well, look at Peter's eyes. It was just
right.
like McFarlane's style, very, very stylized. The amount of time that he would spend on details of just like cross-hatching the hands, or just hatching rather the hands. Up close, and then craziness, like the panels overlaying each other and just focused in on one character's eye or something like that, and then black all the way around it. Doom is the beating of the church bell as it's playing. it's very very mood oriented comic. I would actually recommend it. I would pitch it. I enjoyed it. Little moment of comedy there. She's tickling him with her hot model fishnets on. It actually is a really good storyline. Torment. It's, like I said, entirely mood based. It only runs 5 issues. It is purchasable as a standalone, both through Amazon and Comixology as a collected edition. If you wanted to try a Spider-Man that's something different, definitely very 90s in terms of its exuberance of art. Yeah, definitely worth checking out before Todd McFarlane had left to go form Image with a bunch of other people, and Spawn had turned him into like an international multimillionaire. Yeah, definitely worth checking out. Widely available and for used as well at comic shops in the collected edition. So that's my pitch. Dark Spider-Man.
No, Polly, did you ever play the Felix Hunt?
Oh yeah. He hid Felix the cat somewhere in his drawings. I forgot about that until you mentioned it just now. Yep. Fuck, it's been years since I thought about that.
Yeah, that's something younger people don't know, is if you go back to McFarlane's Spider-Man runs, he'd hide Felix the cat somewhere in the book almost every time.
And as you saw, the kind of detail that he would draw, it was easy to actually hide him in there somewhere, right? Because there's the water.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, as I recall, he did spiders on the covers too, somewhere hidden in the webs.
Unfortunately, the cover of this one, it's all too easy to find the spider.
Which one?
Yeah, the whole flashy, hide your eyes, epilepsy. Ugh. I'm going to try my best to have this fixed by next week, guys. I'm going to run a few test streams offline and get this stuff adjusted. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing because I don't want to be receiving letters in the mail.
Browncoat Boaz said Todd McFarlane is better than Quentin Tarantino. Fight me. No, I'm not going to fight you because you're right.
Yeah, well, I know. Great seizure. I and Polydub LLC are not responsible for any seizures or other medical maladies that may come from observing this stream.
Now, my pitch is Exciting Comics issue 1. This has 3 stories in it, and the first one focuses on this character, Blackjack, and she's actually has short purple hair, but this is part of her costume is the long black hair. And as you can see, the art is actually pretty decent for an indie book.
Yeah.
This came out in 2019. Then this is from the second story called The Crimson Scorpion, where these soldiers are looking for terrorist insurgents, and they have to destroy these ancient Egyptian ruins in order to keep insurgents from getting there. And the professor decides to go in and try and stop them because he's there doing some research. And he accidentally gets bit by a scorpion whose family line was accidentally infected with this immortality serum from the Egyptians, and he becomes the Red Scorpion. Now, I know you're thinking, well, that's kind of old school. Well, we also have Madame Mask, and she is, this is her origin story as well. Here's the cover for the issue. I know you're thinking, hey, this looks very retro. Look at that outfit. This is actually issue 1, legacy number 70. Because if you go to the past, here is Miss Mask. It's actually a modern, this is the classic character, the original version. Now, the new version is a slight modification for copyright purposes. And it's a reimagining. Now, Dynamite has done this several times with like Daredevil, or Death-Defying Daredevil, they had to call him. Black Terror, who's also in Exciting Comics. See, Black Terror, Nemesis of Crime. Mm-hmm. But this one is put out by Antarctic Press, and it's only $1.99.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's got 3 stories, and they're kind of serialized, sort of like Marvel Comics Presents. 2 of the characters are origin stories. Blackjack is not. She's already an established character. And there's several variant covers that you can get, but I thought it was actually a lot of fun. I had a great time reading it. It's a pretty quick read, but it says it's approved by the Antarctic Comics Code Authority.
Yeah.
But it's just their way of saying that it's an all ages book, and it's there's some blood in it, but nothing too serious. The violence is pretty standard superhero stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary. The art's not bad. I thought most of the art was actually pretty good for an Antarctic book, especially on Blackjack here. I thought, look at that. That's pretty solid, I thought.
Yeah.
But this is the cover. This is actually the back cover of the book, and it's advertising issue 2. And I like a lot of these old Golden Age heroes that have a lot of potential, but were kind of goofy at the time because they're, for kids. But there's a lot there that has potential, and they're calling it the Superverse, which is, from what I can tell, they're just kind of updating some old public domain properties and kind of making them their own. But for $1.99, I'm more than willing to give it a chance. And I just finished reading a couple Marvel books before I read this, and I like this way better. So I wanted to share that because I actually had a different pitch earlier in the day, but I thought I would pitch this because I had a lot of fun reading it.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks really cool. All
right, Quiz, round us out. What do you got?
I already pitched it, Polly. You came
in.
in.
Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. See, I only got the last 30 seconds of it, so I'm waiting to hear you talk for a couple of minutes, and it didn't. All right.
I'm going to share one last thing.
All right.
And it's the crossover event that we all want to see.
Oh.
Yes, I would buy that.
We all know. We all want to see this crossover event happen.
Who'd you get to draw that?
That is John Timms, who has drawn every time I see him now, I have him draw artwork from my book. And this time I wanted to have Clarissa and Harley Quinn together. And I told him, make it look like a buddy cop movie poster type of pose. And here they are together, getting ready to go on a murder spree.
Nice.
Oh, great. We got a monkey raid happening. Well, that's about the best time that you could have to kind of round out the stream and end it, huh? And the monkey fans start showing up. Do you remember when you asked on Twitter a while back, it's like, what kind of team up would you like to see? And it was like, and I said, I want to see Silver Sable take on Blue Mamba. And it was like, no, they'll be in a competition, an assassination competition. And I was like, holy fuck,
I remember this conversation.
Yeah. Because I'm a big fan of Silver Sable as a character, and she's a female assassin, but totally different from the way Blue Mamba is. And it's like, yeah, they're both tasked to the same set of people that need to be killed for whatever reason, And I was like, I really want to see that.
Oh yeah,
that's a property that's just left to languish, man. Silver Sable, and it's like, you want to do a strong female character? Well, it doesn't get stronger than her. She runs her own country, for God's sake.
I wonder what it would take to get that license.
Oh man, Marvel, God, they pinch a quarter so hard the fucking eagle screams. Like,
I like that saying.
Give it a few years, they may take to licensing properties out.
Yeah, right. Well, I wonder
if I could put the bug out that I want to do that crossover of Silver Sable and Clarissa, and see if I can get just to see like what they want to license her for a one shot.
Well, maybe it's not such a wild idea. They licensed Spider-Man to IDW, and that's their golden center crown jewel, right? Spider-Man. I mean,
yeah.
So
I think I might start asking around.
Do it. What do you got to lose? What are they gonna do? Say no?
Well, they were looking to develop Silver Sable and Black Cat into a television series. And Black Cat was going to be black because
reasons.
because obvious, I guess.
Because every cartoon character, every comic book character that has black in their name has to be made by a black person.
Right. And it's, I don't know. It's not like there aren't other female black characters if you want to. And what does Silver Sable and Black Cat have to do with each other? I don't know. They're two women. So whatever. I'll stop complaining. And at this point, there's our thumbnail yet again, and we're going to round it off and finish it. And I'm looking forward to reading this. It seems kind of like a Ghost in the Shell ripoff, but I'll find out and let you know next week. Aphrodite IX. Assuming that's how you say her name. I'm still guessing. I don't know. In any case, Jim, thank you for coming in and joining us. It was fun as always.
Thank you.
And Quiz and Jack. It's always a ball with you guys. I apologize to chat and everyone who's going to be listening in the future for all the technical problems. That's what happens when you upgrade to Windows 10 and don't run a bunch of tests first. You suffer horribly. And what happens when Chrome sucks, as it usually does.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I always forget to mention this throughout the stream, and I keep telling myself I'm going to. If you're listening in the future, please, by all means, leave your comments below. I end up reading all of them and respond to almost all of them. So I'm happy to hear what you have to say. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, and so forth. And if you haven't already, please like the stream. It really does help. Anyone else? Final thoughts? Anything?
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications.
If you can make conventions, go to them. It's good ways to interact with comic creators. I just wish I could go to C2E2 this weekend, but I can't.
Oh, and one final thing. Jim, is Blue Mamba still available for purchase?
Blue Mamba is available for purchase at bluemambacomic.bigcartel.com. And
I will put the link in the description, and you can check it out there, and you absolutely should. I bought it, and it's highly recommended. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.